Yo, what's good? It's your boy SJK Dot, first Black Super Saiyan in the world on this planet, when I'm back here with another stream. This is not Morning with the Dot, but well, technically, we'll just say this is a Morning with the Dot. I just don't have it in the title, but we'll just count this as a Morning with the Dot. What's up, nerd man?
Hey, what's up? Coming up
good?
the afro. I had to write notes on this, Jack. I'm telling you.
So, you know, the early reviews and reactions of Shazam: Fury of the Gods has finally came in, guys. There was the London premiere. Today is the Canadian premiere of it. But the first premiere was in Rome. It was a European premiere. It was somewhere in Europe where it first premiered at. Some of these reactions are from people that seen the film in December. So and they had to wait until this embargo to actually speak about it. But some of these people in these reactions have seen the film early, and some have seen it at that UK premiere. So this account, Shazam Updates, has basically the thread of many of the early reactions. There's more, but we're going to read the ones that is currently out right now. Now, you guys can take these reviews and stuff with a grain of salt, you know, however you want to perceive it. These are just early reviews. The movie could end up, I don't know, being bad, and these reviews may not line up. But we'll just take them with a grain of salt. These are early reviews, early reactions. You know, we saw when Ant-Man 3 came out, we saw some pretty mixed reactions at the start, which kind of gave us an idea about what the film would be. Pretty mixed. So far, it's been positive. We're going to go through some of them. I haven't seen any negative ones yet, but it's good to see these positive reactions. I expect
I've seen one negative, but I've also seen a lot of negative reactions to the positive reviews.
Oh, you know from who? You know from who?
I'll tell you.
I'm not saying so, but I know.
I'm gonna
a
let
lot
you
of people that prey on the new DC's downfall. You know what I mean?
No, I know the usual cats, and I'm gonna call them out in this stream because they're fucking idiots, and they're the reason nerd culture. It's not just comic book culture. Nerd culture is dying, and it's because of these people, and they need to really realize, like, nerd culture was cool for a while, early 2000s. But what people are now realizing, cool people, is there's a reason why people call the people who are into nerd culture nerds.
Right.
Right? And they're finding that out by Twitter and the reactions to everything, the overreactions to everything, right? And I'm going to call it out in a little bit. And this is why I was saying, it's happening more in superhero movies.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
As a general trend, nerd culture is dying down now because of these people. And we'll go into it. Because they're nerds. That's the thing. People started thinking nerds are cool. But they didn't realize, nope, they're actually nerds who live in their fucking basements and have nothing more to do than be keyboard warriors and ruin everyone's day because they don't like something. Anyway.
So this is the first reaction from a guy named Shabazz, the movie podcast. If you guys want to go follow these people, you can. Their names are here. Type them in, blah, blah, blah. But we're going to see what they have to say. So he says, Shazam Fury of the Gods is the most fun I've had at the movies, filled with comedic charm and heart. There's a lot to love about this family. Lucy Liu, Helen Mirren, and Rachel Zegler are a force to be reckoned with and a joy to watch. Pony Smasher hits out the park. Now, my takeaway from this that I like to hear from this is what he thought about the new villains, because these are not Shazam villains. These are original villains, kind of like Nuclear Man from Superman 4. Totally original. Not even from a Superman comic. Original character created for the movie specifically. So it's good to hear that this original character, this person likes them and thinks they're good. Now, I still need to watch this for myself and give my own opinion about it, but it's good to hear that the villains, these new original villains, are good. Let me follow Lucy Liu. What's wrong with me?
I don't know. It's true. I forgot to follow Lucy Liu, actually. That's a good point. I might do that as well.
What
were you saying? What were you saying?
Do you want to see what some of the comments look like? You want to say something real quick about this guy's little, this is just a early...
is the most fun. Look, I don't take all of these reactions that seriously. I don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's
just good to hear some positive ones coming out the gate like this. It's good to hear some positive ones coming out the gate.
It's true. Until I see the score, I can't really say. I'm coming out now and speaking on reactions just because I'm a DC fan at heart, and I will come out for DC and I will come out and support DC as much as I can if I see that it's in trouble, or if I see a franchise that I want to see Shazam films in future. I want to see, a different version of Shazam someday, not just Zachary Levi. I'd love to see a recast of somebody else's idea about Shazam in future. So
do you think the Rotten Tomatoes score is going to be very similar to Shazam 1?
Yeah, I think so. I think.
For the critic side, what percentage are you guessing?
Well, here's what I'm saying. From what I've read there in these little brief reviews, these people cannot turn around now and give the film a negative review. If these are the proper critics, there's certain things you can say, right? When you're trying to be vague about what your opinion is, there's certain things you can say that will let you know, okay, he's got a mixed kind of thing about this.
Right.
Most of the reviews I'm seeing, if these people turn around and then go give this a negative review, then they're fake. Right.
Some of these reactions you'll be able to tell how to, this person right here, they obviously like it. Nothing in this told me where they might be mixed or completely negative. I haven't seen any negative reviews yet. If you guys have seen any for this film, I've
seen one. I've seen one. But you can't say Shazam Fury of the Gods is the most fun I've had at the movies. You can't say that and then turn around and give it a negative review, because I'm just going to go, well,
right.
What are you trying to do? Are you just trying to get more press events then by saying that because it's bullshit. It's the most fun
Yeah,
I've
because
had.
right now, since he's saying he is saying straight up saying he likes it. Now, if this guy turns around and goes like, oh, I don't like it. It's like, bro, you just said you like it at the premiere. Now, once you rewatch stuff, your opinion can change. But this is his first reaction coming out.
Yeah.
So he can't really switch up too much. He can reassess what he thinks, but he can't do a complete 360 or 180.
Well, yeah, he can say,
he
"Oh,
might
on rewatch, I realized that
do a
maybe I
complete
was
360 and go off the rails."
Yeah, he could say on rewatch, maybe I don't like it. I can. People can change their mind. That's not. But if he tries to say, no, this review really, what if you read between the lines, you can't say that. I've had
like if you just look at this word I said right here, there's a reason I put this specific word here to kind of signal to the audience that I really hate this shit.
No, and the reason I'm saying this is because a lot of people who are talking about, oh, this is all negative, and because if you read between the lines, what they're saying is it's just a fun throwaway movie. That's not what they're saying, actually. They're saying it's a very fun movie and it's got heart and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And yes, there are times where people use,
I agree, bro.
It's a fun movie to kind of be a diss, but you can tell the way they word it, right?
Yeah.
How they when they say, "Oh, this is just a fun movie," right? It's a fun action movie or something like that. That's what you can say, but you can't say this is the most fun I've had, right? And me,
And then you just like you just totally flip, yeah.
Anyway, that's what I was trying to get at.
This is the next person here. His name is Joseph. What the fuck? This account doesn't exist. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Oh shoot, he got ghosted.
We've got some Shazam. What do you call it? Like the Shazam cult, like the Snyder cult.
They got him. They got him.
Faking accounts and shit.
Shazam Fury of the Gods is what I wanted the movie to be. The film does a good job of balancing this large cast, and it's just a fun superhero movie with a lot of heart, which is good to hear, the heart, because the first Shazam movie had heart in it. I love to see these characters and actors carry on in the DCU, and I think it can fit in. Go see it for yourself.
This could be a negative review. For instance, this could be so it's what I wanted, but when you say it's what I wanted the movie to be, then that kind of says you're swaying towards positive. But it could be it's what I wanted the movie to be, but it didn't surprise me or anything like that. The film does a good job of balancing the large cast, and it's just a fun superhero movie. I tend to think that this person cannot give this movie less than 60% from what they've said there.
Yeah, no.
Right. So I'm trying to be like, take on the people who are being negative about these reviews. I'm trying to see it from their perspective as much as possible. So this person
sounds good now, guys.
Potentially could be a negative, or mid. He could be saying the movie's mid. What do you think?
I think, overall, looking at his whole thing, it seems positive. But okay, that is what I want the movie is what I wanted the movie is what I wanted the movie to, shit is what I wanted the movie to be line. Because a lot of people say this when they see movies and stuff. It's like it's exactly what I wanted to be, especially for comic book movies, right? Because I'm not saying he's saying it's negative because it is, but that line kind of always bothered me because it's like, okay, let's say you're a hardcore Superman fan. Hardcore. Like, you love Superman since his early 30s comics. You read almost every issue up until now, at whatever age you are. And you say, wow, Superman 4 is what I've always wanted from a Superman movie. It's like,
no, but that's what I'm saying. In a way,
you lying to me a little bit, but I haven't seen the film yet. I think the movie might be what he wanted it to be, but
no, but he could just mean he just wanted it to be mindless, action, fun, adventure, family, just leave you with a good feeling. So all I'm saying is I'm looking at it like, again, if you see how the movie has been attacked, like no matter what the movie does, no matter what any DC movie does, they use it as an attack. So it gets positive reviews. What do they say? And I left the
so he elaborated a little more. This person asked a question. He said, "Did it feel like a generic superhero film?" He says it didn't. It's a well-deserved, well-balanced sequel.
So there you go. It's a positive review. I'll give you an example of somebody, if I can find them.
Oh, go ahead. I'm loaded.
I went to this guy's video, and he did this, and it's a genuine phenomena. Now I know that with DC movies in general, doesn't matter if it's Snyder, doesn't matter if it's non-Snyder, there are a group of people who take immense joy or get so many clicks of just being negative about these movies.
Yeah.
And so, there was some guy who did this video called on Shazam 2 post-credit scenes, details about Shazam Fury of the Gods. Reactions are in, and I think I'll see what the video exactly is called, and it's because there's so he says reactions are in, and just leaves it at that, and then he proceeds during this video to outline why all of these positive reviews are really negative. Right. So I asked him, "Did you do this about the Ant-Man movie?" Because I don't understand. Why would you? Do you want the movie to be bad? Do you know what I'm saying? I don't get why with DC movies it could be the Batman. Oh, Robert Pattinson is just he's not behaving on set. The director and him hate each other. Turns out all bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like maybe they had an argument on set one day. And then Robert Pattinson refusing to bulk up. Like every single film. Tell me a DC film that hasn't. Even, and some of them are shit. Some of them are.
I mean, anything before Green Lantern 2011, yeah. What really?
Well, yes, of course.
Anything before 20
since Man of Steel.
Anything before Man of Steel 2013. The movies had just as much a fair criticism as it did with like other films or even Marvel movies at that time. It was pretty much fair. It's because when DC didn't really have it together from 2013 to 2013, and they didn't have a consistent run. They didn't have nothing consistent going on. That's when it became cool to hate on DC. Now Warner Brothers did deserve a lot of that backlash for not having consistent enough movies for us the fans to keep appreciating.
Why?
Because I want movies.
They have dropped 4 movies a year and fucking 70 TV shows about Duckman and fucking what's it called, Ralph and the Robinsons and all of this fucking bullshit. Should they have dropped all of these movies, all of this fluff, right?
No. That's not what
best movies that they could do.
Yeah, that's not what I'm not talking about quantity. I'm talking about just look. Let's say with the amount of movies they was giving us, Man of Steel, people just out the gate loved it. BVS, people out the gate loved it. Suicide Squad, people just out the gate loved it unanimously. And let's say Wonder Woman, meh. And then the movie after that, Justice League, 2017. Everyone just loved it. And Aquaman comes, everyone just loved it. And then Shazam, man, people don't really receive it well. So far, people don't like 2 movies from this universe of over 5 movies so far. That's good enough, but we didn't have that. It was more films that people disliked.
No, but I don't know what you mean by people didn't like. Can I just go over the movies you just talked about? Do you accept whether you whether you like them or not, do you accept that Man of Steel? You know, I don't like Man of Steel, right? I really don't like Man of Steel. Do you accept it was profitable?
Profitable?
Yeah.
Wait, what was the budget again?
About 200 million or something like that. It made profit.
I mean, I think it made profit. I don't think the 600 something million was bad. Like the profit's not the issue. That profit's not the issue because even BVS made its money too. Movie just not good, but
But
BVS made
let
its
me just
money.
go over it. I just want to go over them, right? So that we're clear. We're on the same page. You agree it made money?
I agree. Yeah, it made money.
You agree it made money. Do you agree? And bear in mind, I do not like Man of Steel. Correct? You know this about me. You know I've done whole videos
I don't really love that
dissecting why I don't like Man of Steel. Okay. Does Man of Steel have die-hard fans who think it's the most brilliant movie in the world?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So how's that not a success?
It's a success to a small few. Because look at like when I say
a lot of people like that movie.
I wouldn't say it's that many. Look, when I say that, like, look, let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes reaction of it. Let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes reaction. 56% of critics like it. 75% of the audience they like it. 75% isn't bad. But when Man of Steel came out, we remember it divided people. It didn't do nothing like BVS, which totally like made a bunch of people mad. But Man of Steel split people down the middle in a sense. There was like, why'd you do this with Zod? Like a bunch of choices in that movie divided people.
I get it. Dude, you don't you're preaching to the converted here. I don't like Man of Steel. All I'm saying is, look, I dare say looking at the Fast and the Furious or Transformers or something like that, right? Every time a Transformers movie comes out, do you hear behind the scenes negativity about like every star and every actor? And there has been negativity about that franchise. What's his name? That weird guy.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf been in a bunch of it. Just wasn't. They was at that time. I mean, I was still young, but they was able to snuff that stuff out. Like whatever.
He was doing
right.
Weird
He was doing some BS, but like
movies.
it wasn't like how.
Sorry, go on.
It wasn't like how how Ezra Miller's doing something and it's constantly getting like brought up. Shia LaBeouf, he was doing some bullshit at that time.
He was doing a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, if you notice, compared to Ezra Miller, it wasn't covered that much like it was for Ezra. Because whatever legal team and stuff he had, they must have been doing a good job at making them articles.
It's not legal team. It's that the Flush, before anything Ezra Miller ever did, was being attacked by a group of salty people. And to be fair, a lot of those are the Snyder people. But again, every single DC movie, for whatever reason, I think it's because part of the problem is that DC has a fan base that that a lot of people seem to think that they are experts on these characters, and a lot of people seem to think that they have some kind of ownership of the character, but also that because they've seen one particular animated show or one particular I don't know, read one particular comic book line that really defines the character, right? That they have this knowledge of who the character is. And so when somebody does something, anything that goes against the nature, what they believe in their headcanon is that character, they go ape shit and start attacking these movies. So I think that's part of the problem. I really do. Because I can just say, look, Man of Steel is a bad movie independent of what I think of Superman as a character. I can take out the Pa Kent, maybe kids should die. I can take out all of that stuff and still come to it's a bad movie. But a
Well,
lot of
and
people will just
yeah,
be
and
like, oh, it's a bad movie because it's super bad, right?
well, yeah, and that's what I've been saying because it's like, well, just in general about these characters, just because Superman did not have a fair run in live action as much does not take away the fact that Superman is still doing great in animation, in his comics, and everything else outside of the movies. Because that's a separate media. People try to sandwich the two when you need to separate them. Like I separate live action Superman from animated Superman and video game Superman and comic Superman. They're all separate. They're in separate little
Right.
different mediums. They are Superman, but they're separate things. Now I can
So
agree. Superman in live action has not had a very consistent success like someone compared to Batman, but that doesn't take away that Superman is still a good character.
oh
And
no,
also,
look,
you have to ask these people too, like, okay, did you watch this Superman animated show or read the Superman comic or play this game with Superman in it? I mean, Superman didn't have any good games, but I'm just using it for example. And they'll probably tell you, well, no, I just seen his movies. Well,
yeah, exactly.
and then they'll say something like Superman's a bad character. Well, because you don't know the character, you just seen him in these movies,
But
which which
yeah, go
which
on.
isn't. There's nothing wrong with saying you just seen the movies, but it's like you just saying Superman's bad because of these movies. It's like yeah, and also yeah, we have to remember Superman as a character has always had this line always said about him. Superman, he's boring, he's too powerful. If he was less powerful, I'd like him better as a character. I wish he was just a little bit more realistic. And then when Man of Steel came out, that movie catered to those people. Now, I'm not saying if you like Man of Steel, you're not a Superman fan. There's Superman fans that can appreciate this different take of Superman, but that's different from someone who always hated Superman, going into Man of Steel, and then like going like, oh my god, Superman's a amazing character now just because of Man of Steel. Like, no, he always been
Yeah,
an
I
amazing
mean,
character.
there's a Snyder fan base, and I'm going to go into this is one thing I wanted to go into. I mean, we should maybe stick to the topic, but one thing I wanted to go into was just that DC movies, for whatever reason, there are a lot of reasons. Some of it is the
Yeah, it was
Snyder
okay,
fan.
Big Murdoch. I agree.
Some of it is the Snyder fan base, like the Flush and all of that kind of stuff. But I'm just saying, since the very beginning, since Man of Steel, there's no other franchise like this where so many people, a movie comes out, gets positive reactions, and then the first thing is to do a video going, yeah, this is a negative. How is that a negative? How is it a negative that Shazam Fury of the Gods has got like positive reactions out of the cinema? So then I asked him, like, hey man, did you do this for Ant-Man? Oh, didn't want to, he
Nerman, that this is the criticism. This criticism I've been seeing for this movie. And I've been questioning, like, look, I'm not saying I'm no big person. I don't have no huge knowledge of Shazam like that. I'm not going to cap and act like it. But let's just make this clear. He's a kid superhero. I've seen some people saying, why does Billy act more serious when he's a kid than when when he has powers? Like, did you not watch the movie? He's a fucking kid. You give a kid powers, he's going to act like that. A big, goofy fucking dummy. He's acting like an ignorant, confident dummy with some powers. Like, he's a fucking kid.
I honestly, I agree with you, and that's why I let it go. I see that as a legitimate criticism, but I have never seen.
I mean,
if you out there who are right now,
if you watch the first movie, you can understand why he would act like that.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah, I can see how it can be a criticism, but if you don't like understand the first movie, then that's kind of on them because it makes sense why he acts like that. Because when he's a regular kid, he knows when he's a human. He knows I can easily be killed. I need to be careful. Like he knows he needs to be more careful. but you give him powers, give him the ability to be bulletproof, give him the
Well, they
ability
could
to
have.
be an adult and do whatever the fuck he wants. He's going to act different. He's going to.
I get that. I
You just
agree
gave a
with
kid
you.
access to being an adult.
In
They're
general,
gonna go crazy.
they'll
They're gonna
act
go. They're gonna
full.
they're gonna go crazy with it.
Right. But I honestly think the worst parts of that, his out of sync behavior in the first movie, the worst parts of that were actually in the trailer. I think when you watch the movie, the attitude he has is pretty consistent between Billy and him. I think Zachary Levi did a good enough job of maybe copying a few of the mannerisms of the small, but that's
and see, I agree with that because that's even a separate thing and I'm not saying what you're saying is a separate. I'm saying when you talk about like the mannerisms, I totally agree on that because there was times in the movie, I'll be honest with you, Billy, who's a kid, doesn't do all that gee golly stuff, but Zachary Levi Shazam seems like a gee golly guys too much in the movie at times.
That much. I think people.
I'm not saying he was doing it as much, but there was moments where he was acting like a gee golly guys, and it's like Billy does not. What as a kid, he was doing goofy stuff in the movie, like the beginning of the film when he broke into the cop car and talked on the radio and said, he said, I think your walkie-talkie is broken, and then the cop later responded to him saying, walkie-talkie, are you a kid? And he's like, oh shoot, and jetted off like it was.
Here's the thing. This is my honest opinion. I think the kid is a good Billy, and Zachary Levi is a good Shazam, but they are not the right Billy and Shazam for each other.
Right, they're not in sync. They're not that much in sync, and I can agree with. I can agree.
And it's not a bad thing because I like both characters. So I like his Billy and I like his Shazam. So I'm just like, okay, fine. And it's a silly movie. If it was like a serious movie, do you know what I mean? Like if it had a different tone, then it would be more. But because it's such a fantastic,
it'll be so much of an eyesore
movie. It's just like there's nothing to really take so seriously. There was something I was going to say, but like the thing that I'm finding surprising is not people who didn't like the movie who are now trying to be negative. It's people who like I really liked Shazam 1, but I'm just not excited about Shazam 2. Like I liked Shazam 1. I really liked Shazam 1. I thought it was great, blah blah blah. But I'm not really excited for Shazam 2. Why?
Yeah, I wasn't
trying to be cool or what? Like I don't. This is
because I seen that too. I wasn't understanding that because look, I'll be honest with you, Nerman. This movie here looks better than the first movie visually. From the trailer, from this trailer and all this stuff I've been seeing, it looks like a huge step up from the first. Not saying the first movie was bad, not saying it was bad at all, but this looks like a total step up. You know, in the same way because I seen people complaining about. Why they have hip hop music and stuff in the trailers?
That is true. I agree.
It was in the fucking Shazam 1 trailers. It was
but they should have changed that.
Right, but it's like it was goofy pop culture stuff. Billy's the fucking kid. It's like it makes sense for this type of thing. This isn't no like Superman, Batman, Flash movie level cinema like this. Not saying Shazam is not cinema. But this is a kid hero. I bet you when the Blue Beetle trailer comes out, it's going to be he's a kid. Is going to play more to the trailer is going to fit what the character is. And those Shazam trailers, I'll be honest, they fit what Billy is, a young up and coming.
Honestly, I'm gonna see what the trailer is like, but Blue Beetle is stupid. I think that's a really bad mistake, and I don't know why.
Blue Beetle's tight. Come on, Nerve Man.
He's tight, but he shouldn't be making a movie out of him. It's dumb.
Blue Beetle needs a movie.
Like Ant-Man shit. That's like fluff. That's the MCU. The same thing I give
Blue Beetle
to the MCU for. I'm gonna keep it 100. That is fluff. That's a TV show. Yeah, keep that on TV.
You can't.
HBO Max special. Do not
unless you put a lot of money into it.
That's silly, bro. That's gonna lose money. Anyway,
Unless I would agree with you if they put like Mandalorian level money into it. If they're not going to, don't make them a TV show, because I don't like to see some of these characters get TV shows and it looks like some downgraded shit.
Oh no, of course. Then don't make it. Don't make a Blue Beetle show until you've got a successful DC universe, and even then, probably not either, because I
you just
think,
don't want to see Blue Beetle.
No, there's iconic characters that you just work with your iconic characters, because the more you saturate the world with meaningless nothingness, the more people are going to get bored of this genre. There's
Oh
a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of
Look, I don't disagree with establishing your universe first, getting everything off, jumping everything off, and then you do characters like Blue Beetle and stuff. But at this moment, we got Blue Beetle, and we're gonna have to deal with my man Blue Beetle and Nervous. Blue Beetle go.
Like I don't like Blue Beetle. I like Blue Beetle.
You secretly hate Blue Beetle.
I like Blue Beetle just fine. I just don't think.
Wait. Do you like Ted Cord Blue Beetle more or Jaime Reyes, or do you like Ted Cord or Jaime Reyes?
I like some of the Ted Cord stuff. I haven't read any comics. I watched an animated cartoons of the Ted Cord early one. That was quite funny.
Oh, okay.
And I know that he was connected with this universe where the guy was bit right wing or whatever, and that kind of played into those characters. And then the new one I like from the Young Justice, right? So I think he's a cool character from Young Justice. But the problem is, I know Hollywood executives thinking, and the reason they're making Blue Beetle as a movie is twofold. Reminds them of Iron Man. One. Reminds them of Iron Man stroke Spider-Man. One. Oh, people like Spider-Man. People like Iron Man. Let's do that.
You're forgetting another thing.
And the second fold, it makes toys. The cool merch, toys. Kids will love it.
You're forgetting a third thing in there, man. Latino.
Latino doesn't matter.
It does. This is DC's first live action Latino superhero. Well, in live action, this is the first one.
They'll say that, but they don't really give a shit about that.
Well, in movies, I mean, because in the Flash and the TV shows,
maybe the director and the actors do, but certainly the people investing money don't give a crap about that. I can tell you.
We still got to go over this reaction. We didn't read this one yet. So this from Courtney Howard. Y'all can go follow her if you want. She's a Rotten Tomato meter approved film critic. So she's a Rotten Tomato critic. If somebody wants to save her information, go ahead. But this is what she says. Shazam! Fear the Gods is a super powered sequel that packs a punch. A super solid, super fun, and super smart blend of hilarity, heart, and heroics. Ramps up the action and irreverence to a delightful degree. Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu, and Rachel Zegler are MVPs. Love the Dragon. Now, this is another review talking about the new original villains, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's the second review we've seen so far where they talk about the original villains. These are not comic villains, original villains. Straight up created originally for this movie. That's a good thing to hear.
But here's the thing about this. Again, do you think this woman can turn around and make this into a negative sum? Like say these you can't you can't say that with what she said. That's misleading. If she's going to turn around and say, "Oh, it's like a negative film," she can at best say it's like 70%. So
she has more to say right here. She also says, "Plus, Shazam contains my favorite line reading of the year by Helen Mirren. You'll know it when you hear it." So she says Helen Mirren has some dialogue in here that's supposedly her favorite of the year so far.
Mm-hmm.
And another one, she's replying to somebody. We'll just read this one. This guy said, "Just so people know, the reviews you get on Twitter from critics are always going to be positive, no matter how bad the movie is. Mainly, went to Rotten Tomatoes. There's no way Shazam 2 is better than Ant-Man 3. Ant-Man 3 is a myth.
Okay.
Anything could be better than Ant-Man 3.
So what did she say?
Courtney Howard said, "Why are you in my replies? This isn't the comment section on YouTube. Did you leave this on everyone who tweeted positive tweets? You must be so busy this afternoon. And yes, this movie is better than Ant-Man 3 because it's actually coherent and enjoyable. Hey! She the GOAT! Hey, she the GOAT! She the GOAT! She said Ant-Man 3
Rogue
trash.
Comics, she got you, bro. She got you, Rogue Comics. Anyway, that's Rogue Comics other name, by the way. You have to say you the GOAT. Don't say my queen. Say you the GOAT. Trust me. That's hilarious. But yeah, look, I don't know if it's better than Ant-Man 3. All I'm saying is I don't know how anybody can turn around and take these as negative. And that's what I thought. When you read these short reviews, right? And now I'm thinking back to, do you remember when you were hearing things from what do they call it when they do the screenings, like test screenings? Do you remember the Shazam? What that you were hearing back from the Shazam ones?
I only remember the Shazam test screenings. I remember You know what? I'll be honest. I don't really remember any of the test screenings before Aquaman.
So the test screenings for Shazam: Fury of the Gods. I'm not talking about for.
Oh Shazam. Yeah. I remember those. I remember it was up and down, but most of the ones I heard was positive, but they was up and down. There was definitely sometimes I heard there was some negative reception from it, but I heard more positive.
It was pure negativity. I don't know what you're talking about. The not in a bad way. I'm just saying. I honestly, if you go back to that period of time, then this was the headline was, oh, the test screenings say it's kind of average, but it's good, but it's not better than the first one, that kind of shit. And I don't get that from any of these things that I'm hearing now, from these reactions as they come out. And remember, the person who said that, who reported, the people who were reporting like, oh, it's average, it's below average, they were people who didn't go to the movie. They were people who got information from people who went to the test screenings.
Yeah.
So people were saying, oh, it's a fun movie, and then they were translating it to as negative a headline as possible, because they know the negative headline is going to be the one that people are going to watch. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, negativity sells. I mean, well, what
negativity about DC. People,
I mean, yeah, that sells. It's
positive
stuff.
It's
cool to hate on DC. But Nerdman, can you agree with this? Now, I understand there's a lot of bias that I do agree with a lot of DC fans about. Their DC bias. But can you agree that it was a time when DC, we had it on lock? Like, we had it on lock. It wasn't until 2008 when Marvel really had something successful going on in movies. But before 2000, before Iron Man, really before Avengers 2012, we had it.
What do you mean, had it on lock?
Like, DC, we had it on lock with live action movies in general. Like, we had it. What did Marvel have between early 2000s to 2008?
Spider-Man. You see, this is what I've got to teach you better, son. Look, let me explain something.
We had Watchmen, Batman Begins,
we always
Dark Knight,
had it on lock.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. We always had it on lock. I'm not disagreeing.
The MCU's never had it on lock. They've just made more money because, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, MCU tried.
We've always made better movies. They've made more movies. That's all they've done. That's all they've managed to achieve. Don't like try and be like, oh, I remember this time when we've always been better than them.
I mean, we have. I'm not disagreeing. We have better animation, video games, all that. But Nerdman, I think when 2016 hit, when 2016 happened, people have huge expectations about DC, and I couldn't blame them at that time. Okay. Because there's when you're putting out a level of quality like Watchmen, V for Vendetta, Dark Knight, Superman 1, Superman 2, it's like Smallville. Like it's like you kind of.
Yeah, but there were bad movies between those. There were like
It
really
was,
bad movies
but
between those.
overall, if you look at the whole track record, Batman Return,
No, DC had way more bad movies than they had good movies. Even better, like
but them good movies outweighed the bad.
yeah, the good
You know,
movies were great.
the good outweighed the bad. Still, it was not until we got to 2013 when the hate for DC really like ramped up. DC did not
Yeah,
have
but
no hate
that's what
like
I'm
this
saying. And
before 2013.
guess what got invented around that time? Fucking Twitter. And this is the problem. This is another bit they've made, and I'm part of it. I've become an unfortunate part of this toxic culture because I don't like something that everybody else likes. Like everybody seems to like, I see my students with MCU t-shirts and I make jokes with them, blah, 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 DC's better. And, but, as a voice within this internet space, I'm part of this kind of culture of just dragging things down. And I don't know, it's hard for me to explain, but I just think that there's got to be a point where you just be like, look, somebody likes something that you don't like, right? Just accept it. You might be wrong, you might be right, whatever. You can never prove it. I can't prove to you a film that I like that you dislike is good. Just like you can't prove to me vice versa. It's impossible. So what to do other than just say, I really love that you enjoy that movie, and that's it, and walk along. I just don't. The problem is the negative thing that goes along with people not being able to accept that somebody just. I like Suicide Squad. I'm not gonna pretend. I'm not gonna bullshit anymore about it. You're on mute, by the way.
Check the private chat. You like the Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah, I like the Suicide Squad. I'm not gonna bend over backwards about it anymore. What? You don't?
Wait, you're you're saying you like the Suicide Squad, right?
No, I'm looking at what you said in the private chat. This is fine. No.
Okay. No, what? I'm at. You like the Suicide Squad, right? The Suicide Squad.
No, not the Suicide Squad, my friend. 2016 Suicide Squad.
I was trying to get you to say yes. Damn it! We almost got him, guys. We almost got it. You take it out on the class. Hey, Nerdman students are DC fans, so I respect his students. His students.
I've converted a few. Don't worry.
Wait, Nerdman, can I ask? Have you ever it probably wasn't part of curriculum, but did you say, hey, let's just dissect a DC movie for some of the themes and stuff?
No,
you should do it. I mean, try to make it part of the curriculum, but
I just talk to them at break, and then I go, because some of them just don't watch the movies,
Yeah.
And then I'm like, but
you say they're more.
And then they go, oh, it's actually really good. So
would you say they're fans of comic movies in general, but they don't really have a side? They don't have a Marvel or DC side, but they do like the comic movies in general.
In every
the ones you talk to,
in every single. Before it was a little bit more divided, but in every single class, I've been teaching younger kids recently, but before I was teaching older.
Yeah.
And in every single class, there's going to be, 2 MCU fans, but a lot of people don't care about superhero movies. They just don't. They've got their own little thing that they're into. But there'll be 2, 3, MCU fans. Among adults, I don't find many MCU fans at all. Really, I have a couple. One teacher I know, Dan, who's into the MCU, and then that's it. It's not really there's not so many MCU fans really amongst adults, but kids, yeah, they're really and Carolina, who's a mother who likes to take her kids to watch the MCU movies. That's it. But the funny thing is,
Have you ever told them that they're taking their kids to see Poison?
huh?
Have you ever told them that they're taking their kids to go watch Poison whenever
Yeah,
they
I did. I argued with her about it. I was like, "That's child abuse." That's
What's up, Mike?
What's up, fellas? Nerd Man, my old nemesis. Good to see you.
Long time, man.
So let me say this because I got to bring some common sense to this discussion here.
Okay.
I'm glad to see that this has been the early reviews are good, and I hope it stays that way because let me tell you something. I bought 2 tickets to go see it next Thursday. Now, I don't want to be those people on that side of the aisle that, like, you know, the ones that like talking about whether April O'Neil should be black or whatever, all that nonsense, or how many good white people there are in movies.
Mm-hmm.
But there's only 2 seats sold to a 6:15 showing in IMAX on Thursday, and those 2 are mine. Yeah, so I mean, I'm glad I'll have the whole theater to myself, but I really don't want that because
no, it's actually kind of cool. I'm thinking about it now because my theater might just be me, but since it's going to be me, I might I might check in advance and then bring a few people and just be like, yeah, we're gonna have the whole theater to ourselves and we can do mad shit.
Mm-hmm. but dude, this needs to make money because I'm hoping James Gunn he needs to elevate this company again because to be honest with you, as far as Marvel is concerned, I think they're getting high on their own supply. I think they need somebody to be there to say, hey, you know what, we can do it just as good as you. And that competition is going to get them to stop hiring Rick and Morty writers. It's going to get them to stop like these people that shouldn't be writing anything. It's going to stop them from like continuing to let them infest the MCU. And that's what they need to do. Because
would you agree that now, well, maybe you might not agree with the first part of my premise, but you'll certainly agree with the second part. I don't think this film will. If I was a betting man, I wouldn't say that this film is going to make money. I think it's going to be. I hope it's going to be good.
Well, dude, part of the problem it has is that first Shazam, Nerd Man.
Just to finish,
okay.
The thing that I think is the problem is not the quality of films anymore in DC. It's the fans,
tribalism,
of DC, and the tribalism. It's just it's too much. And I've never seen such a bunch of immature, ignorant, just ridiculous people in my life.
And unfortunately they have access to the internet and they get to spew their bullshit all over so people can see this. It's like they're putting their ignorance on display. Like this entire thing with the turtles recently is just it's nonsense. And I agree with you 100%.
Too, if anybody wants to stay for that will be a topic.
I do agree with you. I don't think this movie is going to make money, and that's unfortunate because even with the first Shazam, which was really good, like people on your in your tribe kept saying, "Oh, well, this is just a Marvel movie," just, you know, and that's like, how about just like it was a good movie? It was an entertaining family movie. Like, you know, not everything has to be like, you know, dark and gritty, and it can't be. I'm just wondering,
do they never watch family movies? Do they never watch like Indiana Jones or something? Or they're like,
right? Because that's the thing. MCU movies aren't. Shazam is like a family Christmas movie that's also a superhero film too. It's literally, you know, a Christmas movie.
No, but I don't get it. It's like
I agree.
Attacking the tone of a film is just mind-boggling. I mean, maybe there are some people. I mean, I tend to like the darker stuff, but if there's a good film,
that's all you guys have had.
It depends on the character you are working with too, because Shazam, like, he doesn't need a Dark Knight or Man of Steel tone. He needs it. Now you could make it a slightly more serious family film. Not all family films are, right? There is some dark ones, but Shazam, this is the perfect tone for it. Like, I'm not trying to act like I'm some, you know, expert on the comics, but from what I've seen from Shazam and Billy, even in Young Justice and stuff, that's what he acts like. I mean, this movie, he was literally playing with a pet tiger in a Young Justice episode. He was playing with a tiger, like, for fun. You know,
Oh yeah,
the problem is that you guys have had to deal with the darkness and all that gritty nonsense and the deconstruction for so long.
No,
we loved it, Mike.
Now you're doing what they do, but you're doing that with dark movies.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Look,
Nerdman, Superman 78, Batman 89, Batman Returns, Superman 2, Superman 3, Superman 4, Batman as much Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. I mean, those weren't deconstructive films where you had to, like, you know, destroy the hero before he can be a hero and have him murder people so he can know that murdering isn't good. Huh?
Batman Begins isn't that?
That's an outlier, though. He was just warming up. He was warming up for Dark Knight, and he was warming up for Dark. Come on, Nerdman.
Nerdman. Deconstruct him in Dark Knight.
The one thing we can agree on is those movies are trash, right?
Oh, that's not what we can agree on.
We can agree on. Oh wait, no, sorry, it's Anzo. No, you agree with me that Man of Steel is trash.
I agree with you, Man of Steel.
Okay, yes, okay.
Yeah, we're not going down that rabbit hole.
I knew we were on point with one of those things. But
let's keep on to the main conversation because it's interesting. But
Shazam is the outlier.
But Mike, can you not see there's a little bit of hypocrisy in what you're saying there, because you seem to attack all comic book movies that are dark. And these people, the Snyder fans, are attacking Shazam simply because its tone is light. That's not. Is it a good movie or is it a bad movie? I can
give you that because
fair enough. You might think Batman Begins is a bad movie, but like, tell me why. Don't tell me about the tone, because surely there's dark tone movies that you like.
Well, I mean, I guess it's human nature to, like, because I mean, you being overseas where you are, you might not know how we are in America, but when we are told to do something, we do the opposite. That's just the way we are. Ever since we dumped the tea in the Boston Harbor, you know, we just have to do that. So when somebody's telling you, hey, you're going to take this deconstruction, this dark and gritty thing, and you're going to enjoy it, I mean, like, screw that. I want something lighthearted. I want something that, like, families can go and see, and it, like, where we are, like. The way people this is supposed to be
another audience as well, Mike. There's another audience as well who also wants to see films that they will enjoy. And I like, for instance, I really hate dark and gritty, because I think dark and gritty is
it works for some characters. Yes.
I think a mature take on characters. For instance, I think Spider-Man 1 and 2 is a mature take on Spider-Man, because it's it's an artist, a director, an artist who's coming there and really looking at the iconography of Spider-Man and, creating, as much as possible what feels like a living comic book. And I think that's a mature way of dealing with Spider-Man. So I think those artistic movies is what I'm saying, like director-driven movies. There's space for them, like Kick-Ass or X-Men First Class is another one. There's a few.
That was trash. That was trash, man.
Well, whatever. I'm just saying there's an audience for those types of movies rather than just family Saturday morning cartoon non-offensive movies. There's an audience for that as well, but not every single movie has to be like that. Otherwise, you're gonna.
Well, so let me ask you a question then. Would you say that there are? I mean, I know you brought up Spider-Man, but I mean, do you honestly think that there are more, say, Marvel characters that are dark than DC? Because I think DC has darker characters than Marvel does.
I think it depends on the take.
I think they're both pretty balanced. Honestly,
you think so? Name me some. I mean,
because Marvel got Punisher, Daredevil. You can definitely take
Daredevil. Yeah, Frank Miller did
a lot of mature stuff with him.
X-Men was pretty.
But even now, all the Marvel people.
But when I say it's balanced, I think it's balanced on both ends. And I think this is what the movies fail at, having the balance that the comics have, because you literally have Marvel comics where Deadpool will meet a Wolverine. That is two different characters that, based off tone, would even mesh well, but they make that shit work. I think these movies, DC and Marvel, get stuck on too much of being one tone, when even our world, the real world, is not one tone. There's people that's goofy as hell. There's people that's completely sad and moody as hell. Like some of these movies, I'm just using an example, the MCU. Some of the characters are becoming too much of like the one main thing. Like they're coming too jokey, a little bit too goofy. It's like we need to balance out. Not saying everyone needs to be dark, but it needs to be some like balance.
Yeah.
Like
that's why I always say I loved Iron Man when I first saw it. But with each movie that the MCU made, Iron Man became less special to me. Because when I saw Iron Man, I was like, wow, this is a really cool take on superheroes, especially after having gone through all of that Dark Knight stuff. It was cool. I enjoyed it,
But is that because it was the only Marvel movie, though? Because, see, I had a customer yesterday who explained it to me, like, whereas, like, the first, because everybody says, oh, well, the MCU was done with Endgame and all that. It's like, but if you look at it, you could say that those 10 years, they were telling one story, which was essentially with Thanos. Every movie you had, whether it was like, Iron Man or Thor or whatever, it was eventually going to lead into that. Now they're doing things that aren't necessarily connected. Like Moon Knight isn't connected to Shang-Chi, and She-Hulk isn't connected to, Eternals and stuff like that, where it's like a true universe where things aren't as, and the fans, I guess, are still considering that they want all of this stuff to be connected. Like, there has to be like, somebody has to show up in one movie.
That's part of the problem why people are going, I can't get excited for a Shazam movie. It's like, if you said this kind of stuff in the 90s, it wouldn't have made sense to anyone. Like either you go to a movie because you're excited about it or not. It doesn't matter if it's going to have a sequel or how it sets up the
connected.
universe.
Yeah.
Like, just go in and enjoy the movie or don't enjoy the movie. It's like,
but see, the thing with James Gunn, when James Gunn made his announcement, it was confusing to me because he said Shazam was like in his own little part of the DC universe, and then they were going to have what was the next one? I think it was the Flash that was going to reboot the universe. But then he mentioned that they were going to have like Blue Beetle, which is okay. If you're going to have a new universe, then this will be the first character of a new universe. And then you're going to have Aquaman too. And I'm like, but that's the old, like, I don't understand if you're going to try to refresh everything, redo it, just to do it all. Like you got to be all in.
I said.
Mike, and I was because you saw the message too. I hope he did, but he confirmed to somebody that it's a soft reboot. Now, when he was doing that presentation, what confused me was the terminology he was using. He was calling Shazam, Blue Beetle, and that stuff DCU. When no, Superman Legacy started DCU. This is DCEU. I wish he used better terminology when saying that, because I'm like, okay, calling DCU, so Shazam is going to come over into this.
He's going to potentially have some of these old people in the new universe, and I think
as the same characters.
I think that's stupid. I think we should just get rid of all of them and just
new people. Yeah.
Again, new people. And that's somebody who I'm a fan of this universe. I films I don't like, definitely. A few of them I don't like. But in general, I saw a lot of potential in it. But if you're going to scrap it. Do you know what I mean? That would be
like having Chris Evans come in, you know what? He's done as Captain America, but here, he's going to be Human Torch again. Like, you can't do that. Like, you need new people. Because otherwise, the fans are going to keep associating it with what came before. And especially since they're such diehards, and, at least on Twitter, they're diehards. I don't know if in the real world they are. But, like, these people have an attachment to these actors portraying certain characters. And, like, with Jason Momoa, I heard everybody is upset that he might be Lobo, and they don't like the way he's disrespecting Zack Snyder's Aquaman or whatever. And I'm like...
Better be Lobo.
Yeah, I don't know. Tribalism, like you said, Nerd Man. I completely and wholeheartedly agree. And it's going to be the death of, I wish some of this stuff would go back to being just for nerds the way it was. I don't want it to be mainstream anymore.
Dude, I'm sorry. It's exposed nerds. Let me ask you a question.
You think so?
Either one of you. I know you both like chicks, right? Do you like to go to a party? Do you like to go to parties without chicks?
No.
Like, you go to a party.
That's a sausage party, then.
It depends what type of party you're talking about. Depends what party you're talking about, but
look, you're going out for a night out, right? You want to go to the cool club, right? And then you turn up, and there's no chicks in the club. It's just a bunch of men.
Personally, I can survive without some chick. I mean, I'm in a relationship, but I can survive without a chick for a night. If I'm chilling with the boys, I'm good with the boys.
Imagine you're single.
If I'm single,
I've got a girlfriend
my
as
answer is
well.
still the same.
I'm saying, imagine you're single.
My answer is still the same because I can survive with the boys. You know, getting lit and turned up.
You
now, I'm not saying I want to do
so
some freaky stuff.
You're going to say that party's cool, right?
Yeah.
You'll say, oh, that was a cool party. I turned up thinking I'm going to get my dance on, whatever, and it was cool. There were no chicks there. Okay, that's cool. I actually think that's
really
homies
cool. Anyways.
That's really cool. I respect you for that. Mike, what do you say?
Well, I agree with DC Dots. It depends on what it is, because sometimes, believe it or not, women get dudes to act really stupid. So if you have like one or two females there, they're going to act a certain way that they won't if it's just the guys hanging out, But
I respect that. I honestly respect that. I think that's being how'd you say, like, comfortable in your own masculinity and whatever. Me, I can't stand those parties, right? I can't stand when I go to a party and it's just like all, preppy white dudes, or it's all, I like mixes of people. I think where there's a mixtures of people it's cooler. And people tend to say those kind of places are cooler as well. People want to be in those places like big cities and whatever, where, you meet different types of people. You can meet chicks, you can have some romance, you can have some, like this, that, and the other. There's a reason why I'm saying this. Now, if you look at recently what nerd culture has been doing to, let's say, like creative people, right? How it's treated creative people, how it's treated ethnic people, right? How it's treated women. What they say, how they for instance, let's take Black Widow, right? Or I don't know, this new April O'Neil shit that's going down, right? Instead of just going like a simple, I disagree with recasting this, they will say the fact that a character that had 10 minutes of screen time in total in the Black Widow movie ruined the whole movie for them because one character who was male was supposed to be. Now, here's the thing. When I go to a club, right, or, and I'm like a cool club and talking to women, there's sometimes I temper my entire beliefs about, a certain subject, because I want women to be welcome. And sometimes I temper my entire views on a subject because I want different types of people to be welcome in a situation.
Yep.
What the nerds have done have completely, and I think they're doing it more and more and more, is pushing creative people, pushing ethnics, pushing women, pushing all of that out of this space, and all that's left are the basement dwelling, bearded freak shows who have no friends other than on Twitter, and that's all that's being left. That's my statement.
Well, and you know what, too, Nerd Man? I agree with that, because I've been saying, and I said this a couple nights on one of the Fortnite streams I did, that you turn to one channel and they're like, oh, and I'm going to use MCU. Oh, the MCU, a Phase 4 was terrible except for Hawkeye. And then you go to another channel, it's like, oh, the MCU Phase 4 was awful except for, WandaVision. And then you go, no, oh, it was awful except for this. So I'm like, so you guys were able to find at least one thing that you liked. Like, you do sit there and realize that not everything is going to be tailored specifically for you,
Right.
And when you're trying to get as many, like they act like trying to get new people into the fandom or into this universe is a bad thing. Like, oh, they're just trying to cater to women, or they're trying to cater to little girls, they're trying to cater to little boys. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that? Like in the 90s,
would you want to be welcoming to that?
Exactly.
And I understand sometimes it ruins stories. I'm not going to lie, but I'm not willing to play with those guys anymore. I used to be trying to be understanding with it. Like, I can see where you're coming from with this or that.
Yeah.
But now it's like, did you see this one that I posted on Twitter? And sorry, K Dots, I know we want to hear your view on this as well. But I posted this guy. He goes something about that one of the guys is revealed to be gay in Shazam: Fury of the Gods, and he says something in the post.
I've seen
like,
that fucking that shit.
He says something in the post like, "Oh, Shazam: Fury of the Gods attempts to be woke isn't going to help the box office." Like, you haven't even seen the movie to say if you like it or not.
Yeah.
Let's see, Nerdman, and you already brought up the point where I'm like, it's the same thing. I'm using the Last of Us show recently, for example.
Oh God, right? Yeah.
And Nerdman, I'll be honest with you. These people need to come out and confess it. I'll be honest with you. They don't like gay people. They don't like black people. I'm at the point where like
let's just come out and fucking
I'm at the point where some of these people that
around with these motherfuckers.
Yeah, because it's like anytime. Look, I'm not saying all these people, everyone who is homophobic when they say this shit, but it's like in The Last of Us, the episode with Bill and them.
Thank you.
Right? They're in the fucking game now. The episode does expand the relationship. It expands it.
Are they gay in the game as well, right? They're gay in the game.
In the game, Bill. The difference in the game is Bill lives. He doesn't die, but his partner is dead. But he lives. Bill
his partner's dead. And
yeah, they don't even show Bill's partner. Bill just shows up for a mission, and they hints at Bill being gay. They fully explored it in episode 3. Now, I can agree if people had this criticism. It took up too much of the episode. I can agree with that. 30 minutes, that's fine, because the game is about Joel and Ellie. But to say that they can't have it is like, bro, I'm at a point where I think you just say you hate gay people. Just say you hate gay people. Just say it. Be honest now. Get it out the way so people can go ahead and fully judge your character and know who you are and make because even these people that try to, fight the wokeness beat around the fucking bush. They're literally beating around the fucking bush, pretending to go like, I don't, I like gay people, but I don't want to see gay shit. Or just the April O'Neil thing. I don't hate that she's black, but why are they giving her a hand-me-down white character? April O'Neil been fucking white over 7 times in animation and live action. It's okay to have a black one now. This isn't the first ever April O'Neil live action animated adaptation. This is like what 8, 7. She's been white so many times she can be black. And this is a person who hate race swap saying this. She can be black now. Let it happen. Let it be.
Can't you just say, I don't like it, but in the grand scheme of things, of all the important things in the world, why would I bring this up? What's the point of focusing on something like this when there's so much shit your life should be rich enough, I imagine, that there's so much shit that why would something like that bother you enough to attack, like some creative from, on the internet or on Twitter for doing that? It's just so.
Well, see, and here's the other thing. Going back to Last of Us, I had this argument with your boy Pickle, Nerdman. He didn't know, and I understand the way the way the game is presented. At least this is what I've heard. I've never played it, but he said that it's basically like a movie that you play. So I'm like, okay, I can understand that. Right. He didn't understand why it needed to be made into a TV show. And I'm like, well, Pickle, here's the reason why. Because there are people out there, such as myself, who haven't played the game, who don't want to play the game. And you know what? They want to expand the IP to reach a different audience. Yeah. I said, and this is why they did this. And this is why sometimes it's not like 100% a direct adaptation of the video game, because everybody that played a video game already knows the story. They know how everything's going to happen. What they're going to do is they're going to do what The Walking Dead did, where it was similar to the books, but it wasn't exact, where they tweaked certain things happened out of order and stuff like that, and certain new characters were in, and other characters died before they should have, and other characters that died in the book lived longer than they did. So when you own something, when you're trying to get an audience, you want to reach as many people as possible. It was a nice thing when you found something like, say, The Walking Dead back in 2003. There were people that didn't. It was a comic book. It was a black and white zombie comic. Nobody cared about it. Now you might have found it and said, "Oh, you know what? This is great, and I'm part of this small community, and only we know about this." But then
Mike,
when he decided to branch out, huh?
Mm-hmm. Go.
When he decided to branch out and they wanted to make it a TV show so they can reach out and reach more people, then you have a problem with it and you start gatekeeping it and you start saying, no, this isn't how it is. Like they can be two different things. You can say, you know what? It's like I told people when Captain America, when they had him say Hail Hydra and become an agent of Hydra, I'm like, look, you guys are out here throwing death threats to the writer and to the editor of the book, but them doing this with Steve Rogers at this moment doesn't invalidate the entire, whatever collection of Captain America stuff.
The version you like,
exactly. And if you bring other people to it's like they don't want people to come to the party, like they're trying.
I think to expand upon just like a little bit on what you're saying. So first of all, there is something to be said of like if you've got a certain niche market or something like that, when you try and expand to too many people, you can dilute down your product. That's true. Yeah. But these people want to come to this space. They liked this space because geeks, nerds, these were the people we thought of as, the kids who used to get bullied and blah, 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 and whatever.
Yeah.
But now they get to, in this world, I don't know how to express it, but like,
Herman, I said this. I said this back in.
It was this world that accepted them essentially. Yeah. This is the world that would accept them. And what's happened is, as you said, why wouldn't you want to expand and put a hand out to different types of communities and different types of, by making comics or films or like what's it called? Fantasy. Like you look at the new Lord of the Rings kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. They're trying to expand to these things. Now, the new Lord of the Rings series might be bad. I don't know. It might be terrible. I'm not sure. I watched the first few episodes. I didn't find it that bad. I just genuinely have a problem with Lord of the Rings and the way it tells its story anyway. I had the same problem with the film series where I just skipped to the third film because I couldn't deal with the first two. It was too long, whatever. And the series seemed to be doing the exact same thing, right? But in any case, like, let me just put a button on what I was trying to say because now I've kind of expanded onto other things. But like what you were saying about this reaching out to these different communities is these communities are already there and want to be in there. And these people are pushing them out. You know what I'm saying? They're deliberately doing it. And it's not going to lead to anything apart from, again, as I said, if you go to a party without any women, if you go to a party without any, really weird, eccentric people, if you just go to a party where everyone's the fucking same and everyone has the same opinion of you, I guess, a lot of people do like that, but those are not considered cool spaces. And that's not going to, attract the kind of attention that it has now,
Well, see, I think part of the problem is they have two problems, and this is Marvel, DC, anybody. One is that they don't seem to want to utilize, or they don't have people that are creative enough to introduce new characters, new genders, new ethnicities, whatever the case may be, and have those characters be like fully fleshed out. Like I heard the criticism, and I don't necessarily disagree with it, but Miles Morales in the comics, he doesn't necessarily have his own identity. Like they keep giving him like, Peter Parker's like, storylines. Like, I mean, they just did like a Clone Saga, like a couple issues ago or whatever. And it's like, make him his own character, like Into the Spider-Verse. Like it shows what someone that's a good writer can do with a character, and this is what happened. And the other one is that there are people, and I agree, I'm part of that too, because when you have like people get upset, oh, they made Tim Drake bisexual, oh, they made John Kent bisexual and stuff like that. You know, these characters have already been established as being this, and they're changing it. So think about exactly where your dislike or your isms lie, because when you have a problem with that, like I do, I have a problem with that, because Tim, to me, I mean, I always saw him and Stephanie, like that's the couple right there. They were going to be, you know, whatever they were. But when people say, oh, I don't like that because that's not how he is, and why, I don't mind it as long as it's like, why don't they create a new character that's bisexual or gay? So then DC's like, okay, well, you know what, we're having a series called Lazarus Planet, and we're going to introduce a trans character in there. Oh, and then the videos come out, oh, DC's woke and they're introducing a trans character and they're trashing, and it's like, but y'all are saying you don't have a problem with it as long as it's a new character. So DC's like, hey, you know what, here's a new character, and y'all are trashing that character sight unseen just because you're saying
right.
that they're
No,
claiming
exactly.
to be woke.
What's good, Anzo?
Exactly.
What's up, guys?
You know, the Hi, Anzo. They can't win.
Yeah,
You can't win. And the fact is, I say this over and over again, no matter what kind of entertainment you like, whether it's the dark stuff like, you know, Game of Thrones, that kind of side of things, you know, Dread, these kind of films, or it's the more family friendly stuff. No matter what it is, we're in the luckiest time to be genre fans, horror, you know, whatever kind of thing. We're in the luckiest time to be fans of genre, comic book, superhero, everything that has ever existed. And all we can seem to do is fucking complain about it. And I
but do you think that's also part of? Do you think that's also part of the problem, though, Nerd Man? Because there is so much stuff. Like back in the day, it's like you got what you got, and if you didn't like it, well, you got nothing, because that's all there was. Nowadays, I mean, if you don't like this, there's so many other things you can get. So like when you sit there and you see people complaining about one thing, well, why are you complaining about that when there's so many other things you could be looking at if that's not for you? Why are you standing there and like saying, this is where I'm putting, this is where I'm drawing the line in the sand right here with this?
You know what it is, Mike? It's because people want to have their voice and they want to be able to say what they want to say and get people to agree with them. And I say this all the time. I'm like, there's some people that should not be allowed to be on these platforms, man. You know what I mean? Because all they do is talk about hatred, hate this, hate that. You know what I mean? Oh, this is gonna. It's ridiculous now. You know. And yeah,
Anzo, I have to agree. I don't want. There's levels of freedom of speech. I'm for freedom of speech, but it's like to a point. I'm not gonna sit here and let the KKK have a platform at a rally and talk they shit. Right? It's like freedom of speech. I don't give a fuck about freedom of speech. Fuck the KKK. They don't deserve to say shit publicly. They can say whatever the fuck they want, but they don't need a platform to say it. They ain't gonna say it in their basement.
Because what it's doing now is just weaponizing everybody else, right? And when you go on YouTube and Twitter, you think that this is everybody. Like, you know, it makes it feel like everybody thinks that way when it's only a little few people. But they're so damn loud, it feels like everybody is hating on it.
Yeah.
I was going back and forth with, you know who, anyways. I won't say the name on the stream, but you guys can go look it out. I don't like the dude at all, right? And it was about the April O'Neil stuff, and she's clearly white, and like she's not black, right? I never said she was black. What I was saying was with the way she was drawn and interpreted, she looked mixed.
She didn't look exactly. She didn't look exactly.
I don't know who
black.
you're talking about. Tell me who in the private chat. I'm just curious.
And I do agree with what Anzo said. Like, she didn't look exactly black. She didn't look exactly white either. She looked like some Hispanic. Honestly, she looked Hispanic more than anything.
I agree.
She didn't look white. And
I agree.
And we and I'll just say this: it's that this confusion came up because the creators. And Anzo saw my tweet. The creators do not know what the character wants to be. One of the creators thinks she's Asian. The other creator based it off his girlfriend, and he says she's white. So what is she?
No, the Asian one was white. The other one, no, the Asian one was the girlfriend, right?
Yeah,
The Asian
and then
was
the other one was like it's a white chick, but it's like that doesn't even add up. That's like.
But who cares? I don't.
No,
Hold
Nerdman. But it's what I'm getting to. The creators don't know what they want their character's identity to be. At this point, the character identity can be whatever it's want because the creators don't know what the identity should be.
Right, and I also agree with you
because it's animated. You can't kind of tell, but it's just like I don't know when this became this a big topic of like. Do you like the trailer? Like, can that truly spoil a trailer for you? What color?
Some people, yes.
April O'Neil is like.
Some people.
I mean, this one did not.
Most hype turtle shit I've seen since the animated Turtles. But goddamn, that trailer fucking ruined it for me because April O'Neil might be Asian. I just don't understand that thinking. I really don't. Even if I don't like it.
You see, the thing though is Nerdman, right? It's like, and me and Kate were talking about the differences with the code, but people are like, no, she's clearly this, she's clearly that. Now, if the two people who created it can't come together and say this is what she is, then how can you go around saying she is clearly that? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that was
the creators confused.
I know.
I'm confused too. The creators confused. We all confused, and everybody trying to talk with definitive facts on what the heck.
Who was it in the private?
They don't know what she's supposed to be.
Who are you talking to? Because I don't know.
No, I mean we're speaking in general, but I'm gonna just say for an example, Eric July. You seen Eric July? Prime example. He's the one that was talking definitively, like, she's white or she's this. But one of the creators says she's Asian. So how can you say she's white when one of them thinks she's Asian, the other one thinks she's white? What the fuck is she? But they're talking about the original comic run, the original comic that these turtles came from.
That's his brand. That's what he does. That's how he built. That's how he was able to sell all those comics that he sold, because he does these things where he comes out and he taps into that segment of the audience that, they're the gatekeepers. This is how it should be, and this is the MCU and all this other nonsense. And
it's not just it is them, a big part of it, but it's not just them. It's there's a lot of childish factions in this comic book space, and also
I'll say modern nerds
in fantasy fandom and Star Wars fandom that I've seen.
Well, do you think part of it is also do you think part of it is also the problem of the companies, because they decide to take these lazy ways? Like they say, okay, you know what? We do want to have black representation. We do want to have Asian representation. And instead of creating new characters that people will gravitate towards, they say, hey, you know what? We're going to take this character and we're going to make them that.
Mike, I will.
They did that in Star Wars, bro. That's precisely what they did in Star Wars, and people hated on it.
No, hold on.
I don't.
And hated the guy for his race, for being a black person, I guess.
People were dragging
Star Wars in general. And think about that. That's crazy. The original creator, what's his name?
George Lucas?
George Lucas, exactly. Has a black guy in his original film anyway. So where was all of this? I really do like to think, I might be wrong, that if Twitter or something like this existed, if you could just plop Twitter into the 1970s or 1980s.
Oh, Nerdman, we wouldn't have gotten out of there. We wouldn't have gotten out of there.
Miserable scumbags as they are today. Or maybe there'll be different types of miserable scumbags, but not the specific type today. And I just can't stand them. There's no logical sense to what they're saying.
So after the debate, and I'll just say it, Nerdman, it was who K-Dot said, Rippa, who I was going at it back and forth, right? So now it's not just the fact that she's black. Now they're saying, why does she have to be black, fat, and ugly? I'm sitting there and I'm like, if you're going to a cartoon because April O'Neil is hot, a cartoon, you better rethink your life. You know what I mean?
And look, April and Anzo, April in that 90s animated, she was hot, but like, and this is the thing I've been trying to say, because I said in the chat, April O'Neil is a supporting character.
Right.
No one gives a I don't hate April, but I can care less about her. If April was not in this movie, I wouldn't care. I'm here for the Ninja Turtles.
Absolutely.
I'm here for April.
Right, but also, is that her? That's how she looks.
Now look. I will say this. When I saw her in the trailer, I was like, "Ooh, she kind of chunky." It ain't putting me off. It's different because April never been kind of chunky. I'm not saying she Lizzo big, but this is the first time I seen her chunky. I wasn't tripping off her being black. I didn't care that she was black because, like I said, there's been over 7 April adaptations that been white. Now I was wondering, ooh, why she been kind of chunky? But it won't stop me from, watching.
I'm going to be honest. I don't love the design. I'm not in love with the design.
I don't really like it either.
It's nothing to do with her race or like anything like that. I just don't like. I don't feel it captures some of the iconic aspects of April O'Neil's kind of look.
I know how A-Dot feels about race bending and stuff like that, and at this point, he don't care. Right? Kids aren't gonna care that April is black. They're not going to see this movie for April. They're going to see the Turtles. You know what I mean? So just a mute argument. And I got to get back to work, guys. Thanks for having me. I'll try and pop on later.
Coming on, speaking peace, man.
Yeah. Speaking facts. But the factions I was talking about specifically, going back to the Shazam Fury of the God thing.
Yep, go ahead.
It's one, the Snyder fans, and then there's two, and you've got to admit this, Mike, there is a fan base of the MCU now where it doesn't matter what film comes out by DC, whether it has a fan base or it doesn't have a fan base, right? That just like all DC movies are bad. Just every single one. And it doesn't matter. And I'm not going to go and watch it. And I'm not going to look at it. And I'm going to diss anybody who, we're just going to make it seem as if nobody is a fan of any of this DC stuff.
I can agree with that. And I can also agree, though, that it goes the other way, too, where there's DC fans that hate any MCU thing because they feel they have
I agree.
See, and I'm talking to two of them right now, but I know you guys do it mostly for comedic effect. But there are people
accuse me of that.
Those are the two segments of people that I don't want to even mess with. Like, you're gonna do that stuff. I have no time for that. Like, I want good stuff. That's all.
Yeah.
DC, and
those are the things that really.
But see, you hope those people go off to their own island and they just stay there, because anybody that has the ignorant. I mean, back in the day, you could do that DC versus Marvel thing, but it was in good spirits. It was like it was a competition thing, but it didn't get as serious as it seems to be on Twitter these days. Like,
it was more like Superman.
It's almost not even fun anymore.
Like who's stronger. And I don't even did you really like ever? Because I remember going to like the comic shops, and I mainly talked to the guy who was Mike basically in the shop, because there was he wasn't the owner of the comic book shop, but he was the guy who was usually working there or whatever. But I don't remember really getting into DC's better than Marvel or Marvel's better than DC that much. I remember getting into certain superheroes are stronger, or certain the Justice League would beat the Avengers, or those kind of debates. I didn't really get into which neither of them are better. I mean,
that's
either one of those companies is better. I mean, you've
that
got
question I get
men on one side, which is fucking fantastic, and then you've got Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, all of that kind of stuff on the other. So
I get Nerdman. I get that question. People ask me, like, what's better, DC or Marvel? And it didn't happen until around, I would say, maybe 2014. 2015, where that became a question. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, they both do good things. They both do shitty things. Like, you know, it depends on who the creators are, who the writer is, who the artist is. You know, you can't say something definitive like, oh yeah, you know, Marvel's excellent and DC sucks, or DC's excellent and Marvel sucks, because there's no definitive answer for that. Like, it all depends. Like the fact that, and I was talking with a customer about this yesterday, the fact that like Jeff Johns came out with one of the best-selling books during the pandemic, Three Jokers, and DC, they told DC, they're like, hey, you know, we have a sequel to this, and DC passed on it. Like, those are the kind of decisions you have to, like, what are you saying? Because that was the best-selling book in 2020.
They passed on it, but you know why?
You're saying because of the Ray Fisher and all that stuff of it? See, and that's stupid. Like, the main thing should be the company and the money. Like, you want to keep making the money so you can keep the company around.
He's done absolutely nothing wrong. He's one of the people I feel most sorry for.
Yeah.
Like, the guy has literally done nothing wrong. I don't agree with some of his decisions producing wise.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't, especially like that he basically, you know, the Flash movie that was supposed to be the Fumiyawa movie, he got rid of that. I didn't think that was good. He kind of stepped in with Aquaman. I don't think he did good things for Aquaman, but you know, and he helped write Wonder Woman 84. So these aren't great things, but these are bad days at the office more than a bad character of a person. Do you know what I'm saying? And what I've seen of how Snyder acts and how Ray Fisher act and all of those kind of things, I'm inclined to believe that they were the aggressors.
They're shit stirrers. Yeah.
I'm inclined to believe that. And I just, you know, it's this filmmaker coming in going, how dare this comic book guy tell me, you know, it's only the guy who's written some of the greatest comic books in all the world, like whatever, you know.
And as a guy who actually does have more knowledge about working on movies compared to a guy that came from, not saying theater is bad, but dude, you came from theater. Trying to tell a guy who worked on movies, they're similar to an extent, but like, bro, you worked in theater. This is
no, but then you'll be saying Snyder is right because it's true.
No. But okay, remember the reason Ray Fisher did lash out because Snyder allowed him a lot of input that most actors wouldn't get.
Yeah, they'd be told, "Hey, this is what you got to do."
Remember that? He allowed him more input than most actors wouldn't get. Like most actors, especially at that level, they'll be like, "This dude just dance for me. Do what I told you to do."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But Snyder allowed him that, which is not bad. That was Snyder's movie. If he wants him to have some input, that means you're engaging with your actors. You have some respect for them.
And it was a good idea. The end product.
But now look how big headed it made him because he thinks like, you know, Snyder said I can do like
that guy's a clever guy. He knows full well the different directors. He's worked in theater. He knows directors are fucking assholes. There's not a single actor alive who's acted with, you know, more than one director that doesn't know that directors are egotistical fucking monsters a lot of the time. So this notion that he was naive to that, and that the guy was trying to get everyone who was in the way of Snyder coming back and finishing his Snyderverse. He was a full Snyder cultist. That was what his motivation was. It wasn't that he really that Josh Whedon really offended him, or that Jeff Johns, he might not have liked them, but he knew goddamn well that they didn't do anything super bad to him.
Or like he got upset with that thing about they said act like Quasimodo, and he got upset like, how dare you tell a black man to act like, you know, the Hunchback of Notre Dame or something like that. And it's like, but he wasn't telling you to act like, he was just saying like, have that sort of pathos that, you know, where you felt shunned by society and whatever else. Like he's trying to tell you how he wanted you to bring the character of Cyborg to life. not insulting you as a black man,
right? But you have to see that. That's what I'm saying. Road Comics, it's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah,
I don't believe for a second Ray Fisher was truly offended by that. I really don't.
Yeah, no,
I think
I don't disagree with you.
He was he's trying to come out from his head of things he could say that seemed bad
He's
enough.
trying to, remember when he complained about the
because
barber?
he knew if he went out there and bold-faced lied, he'd get sued.
Yeah.
So he had to come up and structure out of these little morsels that he had some kind of thing of, you know, this horrible stuff that Jeff Johns apparently did to him, and that Walter Hamada and all of these kind of things. And to be fair, they're a big part of why the DC universe is like this. Coming again from a person who actually likes some of Zack Snyder's DCEU movies, not Man of Steel. You can guess the ones I actually do like. But even from someone who likes them, they did it to them fucking selves. They really did.
I agree.
Yeah.
As far as WB went, they, you know, yes, Snyder had input in fucking shit up, but so did WB. They didn't have no fucking balls. Like, bro, you clearly don't want to work with somebody, and you're still letting them like do something that you don't want them to do. It's like tell them yes or no.
But
like,
see, part of that probably
if there was more transparent.
They didn't have management. They didn't have like steady people in charge say, hey, we're going to do this, or we're not going to do
doing things too quickly. They were rushing. The only bit of this rushing thing that I agree with them is doing the films back to back. I don't believe they rushed in terms of the storyline, like going from Man of Steel to BVS to Justice League. There's a version of events that could have worked.
I mean, yeah, just tweak a couple things and it can work.
There's certain stories, certain tweaks and that could have worked.
But the way they executed it,
not waiting,
the way he executed specifically didn't work. But you can execute that. You can jump from Man of Steel to a BVS if tweaked. Not saying what we got, if tweaked a little bit, then to a Justice League if done right. Because look at the Justice League animated series. They just jumped into Justice League. But the only thing they introduced was Batman and Superman before that in a separate show. But that's a totally different thing as a TV show. We seen Justice League War. They just straight up introduced Justice League. That was the first movie of that universe.
Right.
But and I would say this is where
we've had a lot of animated.
We have a lot of, and see that's why I say it's different. But with these, since this was the first live action cinematic universe, the way they did it, because there was no precedent. There was nothing before it. It's just that you have to do it. Not saying you have to do it exactly like the comics. You need to do it right. There was a way better way to set that up than what Snyder did.
Their window between Batman v Superman and Justice League was too small.
I agree.
But
they filmed it back to back.
Had barely hit cinemas before Justice League was starting to actually shoot.
Well, see, hold on, Nerdman. That's Nolan's fault.
The response.
That is Nolan's fault because Snyder was the one that was supposed to, because after he finished doing those 3 abysmal Dark Knight movies, they wanted him to do Man of Steel and he didn't want to. So he's the one that was responsible for bringing Zack in. And I guess since he had the Chris Nolan seal of approval or whatever, they were hedging all of their bets on Zack Snyder. They wanted Snyder to be what Nolan was.
No, there's good reason to hedge your bets. I don't think Watchmen was a bad movie. I think,
but it didn't box office wise. I mean, Sucker Punch barely made back what it cost to make.
True.
I like that movie.
Comic book movies thus far had been, not bad. And as I was saying, the making, like, for instance, if I were to make, can you imagine I was making like a movie that's obviously like The Matrix, right?
Yeah.
And I go, before I've even seen whether The Matrix makes money, I've got the director, like, just after the premiere, no, even before the premiere of The Matrix, prepping for The Matrix 2. That makes no sense. Do you know what I'm saying? Where you're about to start production on a sequel to a movie where the movie hasn't even come out yet.
You're saying because you don't know how it's going to be received?
You don't know how it's going to be received.
You didn't let nothing marinate because you already jumping the gun. Like
and that's why they couldn't fire him, right? Or say maybe you're working on the wrong DC project, right? Than Justice League. They couldn't do that, because they'd already started production on the whole shit.
Well,
BVS was just dropping.
Well, I think part of the problem. I think part of the problem was the diminishing returns with each movie that came out, because you would expect a movie that has the first cinematic team up of Batman and Superman to do at least $1 billion, especially in the era of the DC, the comic book film that we were in, and it didn't. And it even had Wonder Woman in there. So never mind that you had Batman and Superman teaming up, but you had Wonder Woman in there too on screen. And it made what, 800, 700 million?
Well,
was it?
I don't think that's bad.
No, to them, Nerdman, no, because they were high off of.
I don't think it's bad.
They were high off of Nolan. They expected every movie to do Nolan numbers and even get progressively better because you're adding more characters. Whereas the Nolan movies only had Batman and that was it. Yeah. And they got progressively, like they grossed more and more. Even the last one, which everybody seems to.
They got a general audience interested as well.
Yeah.
But these movies. I'm saying that. Again, if cooler heads had have just waited, you've got Wonder Woman coming out, let that come out.
They should never film Justice League.
Just let that come out.
Remember though,
and then
behind the scenes they were getting sold.
They could have gone with Patty Jenkins to do a Justice League movie since Wonder Woman did so well.
They were getting sold to AT&T, Nerdman. You didn't have somebody that was there with a cool head. This is one of the reasons why Justice League wasn't delayed, because they felt that if they delayed the movie, then the potential buyers were going to be like, hey, they don't know what they're doing. We're not going to buy this company. That's why they didn't delay it.
And they don't get their bonuses either.
Yeah.
Which was stupid, because me personally, I would have delayed it. Yeah. But it's like it's a Justice League movie. We got too much riding on this to just put it out the way they did, and they just put it out, reshot it, and look what happened.
Yep. But the point is, once they started shooting with Zack Snyder, and he shot nearly half or more of the movie, even probably shot most of the movie, to be fair, 90% of it. Once they'd done that, forget about it. It's Zack Snyder's movie. Just put it out in the cinemas. You can't do anything about it.
But they were looking. No, they looked at Joss Whedon, because Joss had just made 2 movies for Marvel that both made $1 billion. And Hollywood, and this is the thing that people don't seem to realize, there is no creativity in Hollywood whatsoever. Because I remember when Deadpool came out and it made as much money as it did, I think it was even James Gunn that said, oh, geez, I hope Hollywood doesn't see this as an idea. And every comic book movie after this has to be R-rated, because they're going to think, they're not going to look at the creativity or the people involved, or Ryan Reynolds was a good actor, or, a perfect character or whatever. They're going to look at, R-rated movie made money, let's do that. They don't understand the nuances that you need to do. They're just going to say, we're going to make an R-rated comic book movie and it's going to make $1 billion, and that's what's going to happen. And that's not the case.
Here's an important thing about that 800 million that you said, by the way. It made nearly 900 million.
What's that?
Right? BVS. And yes, it should have made more.
It should have
made more. Yeah. 873 million. You should have made $1 billion.
Yes. 870 not bad,
and
but
Wonder Woman
done more. It should have literally.
Let me tell you one thing about that figure. One thing about that figure's box office. No matter what you say about it, for it to get 873 million, it had to have had repeat viewings from somebody, from some kind of fan base.
Snyder.
Right? There's no way you get to that figure. Am I wrong on that, Mike?
Nerdman, I'll be honest with you. I think Zach out of his own money paid for some seats, man. I think Zach out of his own money paid for some seats, man. Because I couldn't believe it.
It had a fan base. No matter how many.
Hold on, Nerdman. 873, yes, but more was international than domestic. Domestic was only 330.
No, I think domestic was quite high, wasn't it?
No.
Well, yeah, let me make that clear because there is the Chinese audience. They really like BVS. You know, some of the Chinese they really like BVS, but you know they also like Transformers movies too. So you can't completely trust them.
Yeah,
you know, I don't hate the Chinese. I love the Chinese, but they think Transformers movies are amazing. But
yeah, but you know what? I mean,
BVS does have a strong Chinese audience. It has a strong a strong audience in India too. I think India, they have a strong Indian fan base too, as I noticed.
I mean, look, we can say all day it should have made $1 billion, it should have made $2 billion, it should have made $3 billion, it should have been able to make it so that Warner Brothers could open up a studio on the moon. I don't know how much it should have made. What it did make and what the situation was Zack Snyder was already directing this movie, and he directed 90% of it. Watching, I just don't look. As soon as they saw the first dailies of what Josh Whedon was doing with his film, they should have just said, "Look, just forget about it, drop it."
You know what? Hold on.
Well,
hold
I agree.
on,
they should have whatever 2-hour cut they had of Zach's. You should have dropped it because if you wanted to move on from there, you can still move on. Because at that point, you're still somewhat. And I always said this. They should have been fucking rebooted at 2017. They should have been. If they wanted to start over, you should have done it at 2017 because they let shit go on too long. They already let shit go on too long when they didn't want to work with Zach. But like you said, they already started filming Justice League. They're way too in. They're in too deep to derail. But even WB contradicts himself for that because they derailed by just bringing in Joss Whedon to reshoot the whole movie. So it's like, so so even that they could have easily, if they still wanted to they could have dropped Zach after.
I would have dropped Zach, and it would have been a mistake because I would have never got Zack Snyder's Justice League. But I would have dropped Zach at Man of Steel. If I was the
I would have dropped him at Man of Steel too.
I would have
That's when they should have dropped
two things. I would have said, Zach, either make a Batman movie, right? Or
let's see. Wait. No. Hold on, Urban. Hold on. I'm gonna say something. Hold on. I'm gonna say something that blows your mind. I don't necessarily blame Zack Snyder for Man of Steel and Batman Superman because
don't you dare blame Nolan on it. Go ahead.
Because Goyer and Nolan
Goyer too.
and Terrio, they were the ones that wrote those two movies. So I feel that they were the ones that were responsible for the fast pace that you guys are talking about. And I understand that because how many storylines of Superman did they cram into Batman Superman? Like there was so many things that
it's like Terrio much less because Terrio, you remember there was a full script of BVS.
Dude, he also did Rise of Skywalker though. Let me just put that out there.
You're right,
I don't think Skywalker's as bad as you say it is, bro.
Stop, nerd, man.
Now, wait, and let me say this too, Mike. Let me just slightly defend Nolan. Nolan did push back on Superman killing Zod. Now, he did eventually agree, but he did push back hard on that. He even thought, all right, what y'all doing? That shit crazy. Goyer and Zach was like, Nolan. But think about it. We snap his neck, he dies, the audience reacts. And like they literally had to like pester him about it. It was pestering this man. He was like, dude, leave me alone. I swear. No, this is what Nolan said. This is what Nolan said. Do whatever the fuck you want. Just get out of my fucking ear. Do whatever you want. Get the fuck out of my ear.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
To be fair to Zack Snyder, though, I don't think that would have much helped anything, right? But if he didn't snap Zod's neck, I would have been maybe 5% more happy with the movie. The movie had much more problems.
It has way more problems. That's one of the parts of the movie where people got divided in conversation. Now, sometimes it's good when some creates conversation,
so that the movie would end. That was the thing. I was just like, just stop punching each other when they're fucking indestructible. It's like, it was a weird time, but like,
I mean, it was. I'm just so laughing at how a Superman that only been Superman for one day just beat this general.
No, let's not go into Man of Steel. We've done it. Let's talk about love. Let's talk about Shazam. Like Shazam, we loved. It was a good movie, and
yes,
the new one's come out, and it looks like the reviews are great. What are you making?
I've been honestly, real quick.
Right.
I've been trying to look for early screenings of this. There's a site where you can get early screening tickets and stuff. I've been wanting to watch this like 2 weeks ago. When I saw that second trailer, man, I want to watch this shit now. I don't want to wait until next week to watch. Like I want to watch this now, and that's me being purely excited for it. Like I want to watch this now, but I gotta wait until next week on a freaking Thursday. Shit.
I mean, it's cool. I don't mind. Like, I'm to be fair, I'm not gonna say I'm not. I am excited for this movie, but I'm not like.
I think this is a huge step up from the first movie.
The Batman, I couldn't. I there was a point in time when I think I just wanted to sleep until the Batman came out. I just wanted to see that movie so bad.
You wanted to meditate. You wanted to meditate and prepare yourself.
Yeah, I even had that a little bit about Shazam 1, but I just think this is going to be a really fun movie, and so I'm excited for it. But I'm not like over. I just don't understand the again the negativity towards it. Man of Steel equals Superman Earth 1 comic. It does, but it's not as good.
Yeah,
they should have got the writer of that to write Man of Steel, then it might have worked.
You know who they should have got to write Man of Steel? James Gunn.
This guy,
David Goyer. James Gunn is a good ghostwriter. He wrote Dawn of the Dead. He's a good ghostwriter for Zach. Him and Zach would be a good combo.
They need to not let Goyer do anything in comics again.
Yeah, Goyer never. Where Goyer fell was Blade Trinity. Before that, he was he didn't completely. He was completely bad.
That was his first stuff. What are you talking about?
Nah, Blade Trinity wasn't his first comic book movie. Let me see.
Oh, you mean? Oh, sorry. I thought you meant the trilogy of movies. Sorry, Blade Trinity.
Yeah, no. Yeah, for David S. Goyer, because he wrote on Batman Begins. He wrote on The Dark Knight. Well,
I still don't understand how he.
He has story. He has story. Let me make that clear. He has story.
No. In Dark Knight Rises and Dark Knight, he has story.
That's it. Story is not even full because I can come up with a story and I can get story credit. So make that clear.
But Batman Begins, it will always baffle me. Other than he just followed the Batman origin, which is a cool origin story. But I will never understand how David Goyer wrote that movie because it's one of my favorite movies and he's trash. He's so bad. Like
so David S. Goyer wrote Blade 1. Let me get the list up. But look what else he wrote. He wrote Blade 1. He wrote Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that's a trash show. He wrote this shit. And he got lucky with Blade 1. So David S. Goyer always had a bad history of writing comic book stuff in general. He don't know how to write shit for comic book stuff. He got lucky with Blade 1 and that's it. But Blade 2 was good.
No, but he full on, nobody else helped him. Batman Begins is his script. And to be fair, I've read the script and
Nolan did the screenplay.
I think Christopher Nolan fixed it. Christopher Nolan fixed that shit. Wait a second. Does it say screenplay by Christopher Nolan?
Screenplay by Christopher Nolan, David Goyer. Story by David Goyer.
Now it suddenly makes sense because I read a draft of that script, and I was like, this is not like there are bits that are blatantly Goyer-esque.
What's up?
And
can you hear me?
It just seems so much more sophisticated on the final shoot, and I'm just like, David, basically, it says it there. It's what's his name?
David S. Goyer.
Nolan basically fixed it.
Nolan did that screenplay. David just has story credit, and with story credit, because people need to understand, story Credit is just what I can do. Right now, I can pitch Nerdman, hey Nerdman, I want to do a Superman movie where Superman fights Supergirl and they make out at the end. Can I get that done? Nerdman tells me yes or no.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all the credit I have as a story. But if I write the screenplay, I'm basically writing the movie. I'm writing all the dialogue. I'm writing the script.
Mm-hmm.
So just so people understand, that's the difference between story and screenplay. Just so people don't get it confused. Because Zack Snyder pitched the story for Wonder Woman, but he didn't write Wonder Woman. It was Alan Heinberg who wrote Wonder Woman 1.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you. Yeah.
Because pitching a story,
I was telling you because we had the conversation before. Yeah.
What about the epic new show Gotham? Oh, we don't talk about that. Gotham Knights. That show is gonna be trash.
Is that starting next week?
Yeah,
is that a CW thing?
Yeah, and people are gonna hate. Watch people watch it and guarantee it a second season. Idiots.
We'll see.
But at least of all the things David Zaslav could have what he do? Made a tax write-off. Keep that shit for it. Make that shit a tax write-off.
See, but I would rather have them watch the show and then come out with their hatred as opposed to hating it without watching it, which happens a lot on the internet too.
But Mike, I'd rather not, because that's how Velma is getting.
I don't disagree with that, but I would much rather take the criticism of someone who has actually consumed the product they're complaining about, as opposed to I saw this still, and in this still, she's not a ginger or something or whatever,
Remember, what do you make of the Aquaman stuff as well? Like the Aquaman 2's just people walking out of it. Because now I'm starting to think that's all BS as well. I really think, after these reactions came out, I'm like,
well, but see, with that you have
the most negative spin on, like, the way they talked about the Shazam early previews and stuff like that. They were like, oh, people are just saying it's average, and and it's not really as good as the first one, and da.
But with that, you have another facet to that with the whole Amber Heard situation, because there are people out there that are crazy about her and Johnny Depp and defending Johnny Depp. So they're going to come out and say this sucked because she's in it. Like, I heard that she's in it now. Apparently they allegedly cut her, but now all of a sudden she's in there. So you might have that aspect of people amplifying that nonsense. So you don't know what's the truth and what isn't anymore.
She was never cut. It was always like her time would be reduced.
Minimized?
Yeah, to about 20 minutes. I think they've reduced it to 20 minutes. I don't think they should reduce it at all.
Same.
In the sense of it's not condoning to put her in the movie when you've been filming the movie but prior to any of this stuff, coming out, and you can't fuck up your movie because of that. You know what I'm saying? So,
you know what though? Daddy Zack Snyder, he made some modifications when one of his actors was a little bit naughty.
The Last of Us
news. Yeah, the movie was shit. It was a terrible movie.
The Last of Us news on Twitter.
I don't know, man. Poor Zach.
When Mike brings up that the deleted Batwoman thing, I remember hearing the directors. Is that my phone? No. But my directors were like, when we heard about it being deleted, we ran to their computer and we went to the cloud sharing service, which had our movie, because we were going to just get our own version of it and record it. And I mean, they didn't mean anything when they said that, but they kind of did reveal a part of their movie franchise, which is broken. DC Studios should not have a place where your movies are accessible, where things can be leaked. It is very simple for, I don't know, anyone to hack in.
Did you hear anything about Ant-Man 3?
That has nothing to do with what I said.
No, but there was the Scooby-Doo and the Crypto movie has been posted on the Internet Archives or something like that. The entire movie. One of the movies that they scrapped last year for tax reasons or whatever, allegedly.
Okay,
so I saw the first half of it. It was pretty good.
Which one?
The Scooby-Doo and Crypto movie.
Oh, it's
Nerdman's like, Scooby-Doo fell off after WrestleMania mystery.
No, but on a serious note, I never hear anything about MCU movies. Like, did you hear anything about in Eternals? Like, what people were saying at the private screenings? Or sorry, not private test screenings.
Quantumania had its entire script revealed because the closed captioned English version was all on the internet.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
No, but I'm talking about you're mixing up what I'm saying. Did you hear of any MCU movie where there's been test screenings where people have come out saying, "Oh, this film there's been test screenings of da da da, and everyone's saying it's brilliant," or there's been test screenings of da da da, and everyone's saying it's trash. I don't even think I've heard that of Transformers films. The only films I hear about test screenings about are DC films. Like recently, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just because I'm a DC fan and I'm looking out for it.
The bias is real.
Don't patronize me.
I agree, Nerdman. I'm with you. Maybe it seems like I'm not with you because there's like a little lag from me to you, of course, because that's just a thing that always happens. But I am with you.
It's that Canadian lag.
No, but I'm serious. If there are people, because DC is cinema, that's right, WZ. But there are.
Was that his first comment? He wasn't in here the whole time. Then he just hits us up with that. It's a cinema.
Oh, I thought he says because DC is cinema. He says because DC is.
Yeah, but then earlier he wrote, "This is cinema." That's all he can do. He's a one note. This is cinema. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that, WZEE.
I mean, it is true. I mean, what he's saying. Even the bad films are actual cinema.
No.
No, they are. I'm serious. Because
Mike was saying something important.
A director who has like Wonder Woman 84, whatever you want to say about it, it's made by a singular director who has, a singular vision towards this thing, and she just went with it and made her own film. So that is cinema. That to me is cinema. When it's not cinema is when it's like some committee made, impersonal, try and appeal to as many people as possible kind of film. I
cannot believe I just heard him say this. This is a singular direction is your criteria for cinema, and you're using DC and singular direction like as a reason to compliment it? Huh?
I'm not complimenting it. I'm just saying that to me is how I would define the difference between something that is, as I said, cinema in the sense of, it follows the kind of conventions as well of telling a story in a, how would I put it? Like, it's hard to kind of put your finger on it, because I know what you'll say, that there is a kind of committee behind every kind of important IP superhero movie in a way. But I think when it comes down to it, when you look at like things like the action or the tone or the cinematography of a thing, when you can see consistency like over a franchise, where you're like, well, that movie, the action directed in it looks almost exactly like the action directed in another movie and in another movie, then you're not talking about any personality of any individual coming into play there. And that's the difference I see. I mean, Wonder Woman 1984.
Say that the diversity, the strength of it,
uniquely Patty Jenkins style of whatever that shit was.
Okay, Mike brought up something earlier, which was kind of important about competition and what DC could do, and then it make them stop hiring no-name writers and people we can give a chance to, and we can actually get on the phone with Marcus and McFeely. That'd be pretty valuable to do. Michael Waldron, as cool as you were, you did a little Loki show. Wasn't my style of writing, You're gonna do the Avengers Secret War stuff, or you did a Multiverse of Madness, cool. You got a guy in house. He's not the best, but let's keep him. He can be our mediocre writer. But we do need those top tier writers who've proven to us that they can make movies that people enjoy, except for that guy up there. But like, there are existing talent that are out there that you just got to pay for. Find them. Don't get no-name small directors who will listen to every single thing that you have to say, Kevin Feige, and say, dictate them to do this and do that. That's why Nerdman is saying that all movies have the same exact DNA. But when we look at something like Multiverse of Madness, does Nerdman say that there was a Sam Raimi-esque quality to it, even if it was mixed with MCU?
Yeah, I do, and that's why I like that movie. I call that cinema. I'm like, that's a film. That was like one of the first ones I saw, and I was like, okay, that's got an individual personality. The action isn't. I mean, that section where he's playing with the music or whatever, that's very Sam Raimi, and like it reminded me of quirky stuff he did in the Spider-Man movie. So I thought it had its own voice.
Henry said the Eternals. No,
the Eternals is it. Love it or hate it, like that was, her movie. I agree that I didn't like it, but that was her movie.
Well, see, the thing that annoys me about the Eternals is that I don't know how many times the criticism is that, oh, this is Marvel doing what Marvel does. It's just another Marvel movie. It's got the same tropes. It's got whatever. So Marvel intentionally, for better or for worse, goes out and gets someone who isn't in the Marvel machine, and she tries to do something different, and then people complain about it because it's different. So what exactly? No, chill. They did.
Not different.
Yes.
No, they do. They do. We have to stop pretending they're not immature idiots. There's worse examples of this. They do it every time there's a movie is a little bit different in the MCU.
Are we talking about the crew that Keira was talking about earlier? Fine, like that, fine. But like, just me, I disliked the Eternals because it was bad.
Yeah, no, I know, but what Mike's talking about is also true. Like,
Mike said different. Mike didn't say that it was because it was a cast of diverse castings. Did you mean that when you meant different?
No, I was saying that Black Widow and Eternals, and I can't remember, there was a couple of other movies there that were like quite different from what the MCU usually does, and people were saying like, we want different things in the MCU, and then as soon as they did it,
exactly,
they were
this
just
is
like,
what we want.
Yeah. They don't know what they want. They keep saying we want something different, but then somebody does something different. But we want it the same, but we or we don't want it that different. It's just it's complete nonsense. They just need to not listen to the noise.
The studios? Do you think you think the studios need to listen? I mean, stop listening to the internet. I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
No, they got to keep listening to us because we got some requests that make sense every now and again. Like when I say, "Hey, cool it on the Jon Stewart. Let's actually get a black character up there who got his own identity."
Part of the noise.
Jon Stewart is a black character. He is an elevated black character in the DCU. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
That's a very good job of selective hearing, because I didn't just say black character. The sentence had a second part. It said with his own unique identity.
Oh no! See, because this is part of the ongoing discussion about Jon Stewart that we've had. So I just picked up where you left the narrative thread last time.
If I wear a Green Lantern
under which you're going to
T-shirt,
support a black movie, like how many conditions do you have? Under which you're going to support a black
no, Nerdman. It's not how many conditions does Chillmonger have. It's how often are they doing everything but just doing a black movie with the same criteria they do with the white movie.
They put out a $200 million movie, proper respect to Jon Stewart and everything, and made a Green Lantern, like, put it out there. Great director, great writer. Before you hear the reviews, I'm not saying you can't hear the reviews.
No, say it's good. Pretend it's good, even if it's good.
All right, we'll say it's good. Are you going to go out and support it?
Well, I'm going to watch every DC and every Marvel movie, so yes, for that reason. But
wait, so you went to go see Wakanda Forever?
Oh, you're right. That I didn't see that one. I had a great reason.
Because with the exception of maybe 2 people, everybody else in that movie was black.
Well, the issue isn't that they're all black. The issue is that the greatest black superhero that's ever existed, and the number one symbol of representation in this thing called representation, that representative was being diluted and telling the audience it's about the role, telling them about so because there was not progression but degression happening within a black franchise, I decided not to fund that degression, and so that they would think, oh, we don't make as much money.
You did the same for the
so, but then you do realize, chill. Hold on, you do realize though that since Hollywood only sees color and usually the green color, so if it doesn't make the money, then they're going to say, oh, you know what? They're not going to attribute it to the loss of Chadwick or the fact that, you know, the creative fact. They're going to attribute it to all those black people in the movie. Black movies aren't going to sell. We are not going to make black movies.
That's
no, so Michael, Nerdman,
they will think like them.
Come on,
if you
dude.
Wage a war against an enemy, you got to think about your enemy.
You got to exactly. You got to be that Trojan horse, man. You got to come in there when they don't expect it. This is how it is.
Ready?
Go.
Yeah. You can't just keep talking and then avoid the criticism that I got coming. So because the first movie made $500 million more, there's now an ability to compare this trash thing called Wakanda Forever, which didn't make as much, compared to this, and they're gonna say, what's the difference? Because we want to do this, we want to make 1.3 billion, but we only made 800. What was the difference? What was the difference? It's called T'Challa.
Bro, you think that
you do Hollywood,
Wakanda Forever did suck. I do agree with you. Wakanda Forever did suck, and it sucks that it made less money than the first.
Can we get back on Jon Stewart? Thank you, kid.
You're giving Hollywood the ability to tell what's creatively bankrupt or not, and they do not understand that. They only care about money. They're not going to know that you can sit there and say, "Oh, well, what's different between this and this?" They're not going to care.
Here's what they're going to do. They're going to look at something like they're going to look at something like The Woman King, and they're going to look at something like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and maybe some other movie that I don't know of yet. And they're going to look at these movies and they're going to go, "Oh, maybe black movies, you know, or African movies just aren't in at the moment. Maybe they were in before, or it was just the novelty of the first one in the MCU, but now it's just not in anymore." And okay, there might be 1 or 2 people with the nuance of me and Mike, right, at the table, but there ain't going to be many of them. I can assure you. They will just look at what next made money. They'll look at Top Gun, or they'll look at let's get fucking 80s movies that, you know, were about some shit like airplanes or whatever. That's what people are into now.
I believe that
about all of the
Well, I'm sorry, I just don't want to interrupt you because I never know when you're going to pause and when you're not because of the lag and stuff. But when they do look at The Woman King and they go, it's not making money, they're going to obviously be thinking, okay, slave movies or movies that depict African people in that light. They will at some point realize that, well, Wakanda Forever was an African movie that didn't have that, and it made $800 million. And then the first Black Panther made a whole lot more money.
No, that's how you think, bro.
It's a very easy conclusion to come to.
And as much money, and this is the thing that bothers me too, because if you can sit there and say that Ant-Man Quantumania was subpar, it made its budget plus extra. So Wakanda Forever made what it cost to make plus more. So while you see it as being creatively bankrupt, they might not, because they feel they made their money plus.
Right, exactly. They made profit.
So they're not going to, they're not going to be as critical of it as you are.
This information you're saying right now that this movie was a profitable movie, numbers wise, is not true. The budget of this was very high, $250 million. Don't forget that it was when Letitia Wright had that injury, she had to leave, and then it delayed filming her parts, and then she came back. It was a costly movie, more than the common movie. And then when you think of the marketing, if you were to believe reports that every $1 for budget was also spent on marketing, then when that's $250 million twice. So now, did this movie gross enough to counter the $500 million dollars that it costs to get put together? And the answer to that question is no.
Dude. After COVID, it made $858 million.
But compared to the first movie,
are you ignoring everything I said about budget and marketing? Oh, that's cool. No, you guys are right. Whoa, I never thought of it like that. I just have to neglect information that's.
You think I wanted it to make that much money? I didn't go and see it. I didn't like it. It made 858.
I mean, the budget of Black Panther 2 definitely ballooned during COVID. That budget, just like many other movies, it ballooned. Even Shang-Chi's budget had to balloon. So did Black Widow, so they can actually finish filming these movies. It ballooned during COVID.
That made more than the Batman, dude. K-Dots. It made more than the Batman.
But it made less than its first movie.
On any fucking level.
Hey, Batman cost a lot less to create.
But for a first movie, the Batman, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, that's way more than Batman.
It's not a first movie. It's a Batman movie.
But it's the first Batman movie.
Batman has been making $1 billion before.
He only twice, and that's it. He only made twice because those are sequels. Those are sequels. It makes sense why those budgets jumped, why the box office jumped from.
No, but Kena, those billions from back then, the dollar was a lot less inflation, so that's a more powerful billion, impressively.
But look, Wakanda Forever making less than the first is not typical MCU. That's all I'll say. Because most
never happened before. Guardians, second movie we made more.
That's all.
I like how when Nerman left, he stopped, and then the screen went to like it wasn't the one with the picture; it was one with just the default. And he's like, "No, let me bless you guys. Let me show them the bricks."
All right. Well, let's. We seen No Way Home just do the numbers it did because obviously the extra stuff. It wasn't just because it's a sequel to Far From Home. Because I don't think let's say if that was a Kraven Hunter versus Spider-Man movie, it would have not made $2 billion. But with all these extra factors, it did. Now with the Avengers films, each film has made more than the other. I think Avengers 5 might make $3 billion. No. Avengers Endgame made $3 billion.
I think it's going to make less money. I think you're talking
Avengers 5 needs to do $5 billion, guys.
It can do it. The fourth Thor movie would have made more if they had a Chinese release, but they didn't. And if you were just to pretend what they got in Ragnarok would have also happened for Love and Thunder, they'd have made more than the third movie for Thor.
Yeah, and Thor 4 did make less than Thor 3. That's not good.
I think Avengers might,
even going off MCU standards,
the next Avengers might make $1 billion, but
of course,
$1 billion. Nah, it's gonna make like
really. I think
it's gonna make at least $2 billion.
But
Mike, whose side are you on?
Who's going to be in it? Who's going to be the roster?
Don't matter. It says Avengers.
It's Avengers.
No, it does matter.
Not today. I don't think so.
Bro, Wakanda Forever had the word Black Panther in it. That's all it needed to make $800 million. It does matter about the title, doesn't it?
They're going down. Can you not see like the
But the Avengers movies always went up.
It's like it's going down.
Ultron made a little bit less.
Like each movie, Black Panther made less than its previous one, right? Thor Ragnarok or Thor Love and Thunder made less than Thor Ragnarok.
If it had a Chinese release, it would have made more.
Ant-Man is making less than Ant-Man 2, which is crazy because it's made less than Ant-Man 2, which is crazy because Ant-Man 2 didn't even make that much money. And this is introducing
Ant-Man 2's box office isn't done, but it's been slow.
So the thing for me is I think that comic book movies, because nerds have been shown to be uncool.
Can I fact check something?
It's going out of fashion. And I think the second thing is that, there's a bit of fatigue. And I'm not even talking, I'm talking about everything. For DC, MCU, everything.
We're 19 days into Quantumania. It made 189 million domestically, okay? This isn't worldwide. But then if you look at the old movie, compared to the 189 Quantumania, 19 days in, they made 170 million. So,
you don't understand what I'm talking about is not only just the box office, but how much it's slowing down the box office receipts.
Okay, I don't have that. We got to wait it out. You're right, Nerdman. We could definitely see it losing steam, right? I might check in a couple
and
days.
It is losing. It's already lost steam. It's not the is it losing steam? It's already lost steam because we've got Scream 2 coming out. What was the last thing? Freaking Creed 3 beat it in the box office, dude, for the second week. No, second week. One day it got beaten by Cocaine Bear for one day.
I remember seeing that. Yeah.
And then the third week, Creed 3, which
that's expected.
Small movie in comparison, beat it.
Ouch.
Like I don't see it like it's a. And this isn't any hate. I'm telling you. I think this is why I think Shazam is not gonna. I think there's genuine superhero fatigue. So right now, wow, actually, it has gone up quite a bit from when I last.
No, I don't know if it's super. You know, and this is the last thing I got to go get ready to open up. Hold on. I don't think there's superhero fatigue. I think there's fan fatigue. I think there's fatigue over people being performative on the internet about things they say that are terrible, which really aren't, or criticisms they have, which aren't really legitimate criticisms. I think that's the fatigue. And it's nonsense, and wading through it and giving it oxygen is only going to drive you crazy. And this stuff used to be entertainment. And if you ever feel yourself looking at this stuff and not feeling entertained, then maybe you should step away from this and find something that will entertain you. Because when you decide that you're going to sit there and you think that complaining about something is entertainment, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be wrong. And with that, gentlemen,
exactly, just let it go. Like if you genuinely aren't entertained,
Mike's got to go
by MCU movies. Just stop watching them. Don't
exactly.
Star Wars movies. Stop watching them.
You know, appreciate what you have, and that cover was awesome. Appreciate what you have, and that's it. And ignore the rest.
And don't attack people who like it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's like they like it. Forget about it. You've still got your old Star Wars movies you can go back to, or your old MCU movies. They're still there. You know,
those will still exist. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have any extra, Mike?
Do I have what?
Do you have extra issue 3s at all?
I think I might have 1 or 2, maybe. Yeah.
Any variants?
No, I don't think they did any.
They did for 3, didn't they?
Did I don't think so.
In about,
I'll look into it.
I have to go because it's.
Well, I gotta go now.
Okay, one man show.
From work.
Well, you're used to that, Chillmonger, right?
You know how it is.
On your favorite channel, yeah, I do. Anyway, all right, gentlemen, I have to leave. Nerd Man, it's good seeing you again, my nemesis.
Yeah, good seeing you, man. I'm hearing you.
All right, go.
All right, take care, guys.
Yeah, I've got to go in 2 minutes, so I hope you're coming back, K-Dots. Because my bus, it's like every half an hour, so I don't want to get back my time.
Just leave. Trust us, we're not worth it. We trust on everything, and you know the way we get. We're not going to have no 2-minute conversation. So send your goodbyes. Nerdman will be on my channel. We'll be live streaming talking Creed, right?
Yeah, you want me to watch that? Are you going to watch The Woman King? And then we could.
I've already seen it, but I'll watch it again just for you for like research.
Okay. Really, you watched it? Tell me you didn't watch this shit.
Well, I just don't like going to the movies and like, oh, what's the black movie we got today? Oh, Slaves. I hate seeing that.
Okay, but it was talking at least about a newer aspect of that. It wasn't just going slavery's bad. It was talking about a slightly new, you know. I think there's some value in learning about different aspects of Black history. Anyway, all right, we will go into that another time though. Peace, guys. I've got to go. It's been a pleasure.
Doodle. Type in your comments because I'm here. SSJ Chillmonger's Sanctum. You know, go spread that peace, love, and positivity. Okay, we got WZ. He says too many adults complaining about stuff. Henry says, maybe if I watch Batman Forever for the 8th time, it will get better. I think I might need to go back and see the Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, Clooney Batman, you know, for education. There may be some Easter eggs and callbacks to those movies that I might appreciate when I actually watch Flash coming up in April. It's really sneaking up on us. It's nice to have a DC movie sneaking up on us. We go to Big Brell, who wrote, Majors has been killing it. Hope he gets better writers for Kang in the future. You know what? Also with the different versions of Kang and comfortability, and as well as him being on set and having, I guess, the cachet to make character decisions for himself, he may enhance whatever we get coming out of the new Kangs. He doesn't have control over the special effects, but performance-wise, he can hold it down. Okay. W says, nice having us four together, to be honest. Hey, appreciate the niceness. Henry says it's awesome. Yellow, he says K-Dot left his own stream. K-Dot's got things to do. He's busy, as he said, like a few comments up, but he'll probably be back. I'm not going to make promises, but within 10 minutes, I imagine he'll be done taking care of the task. He wrote what the task was for us in the private chat. I'm not going to give away his information, though, because here at Showmonger, we keep our privacies. Now, the MCU. Look, what should I say that K-Dot would agree with that he will not like that I'm saying right now? Me and K-Dot agree on a whole lot of things, don't we? Who's a pretty good... Oh, Tom Holland. Tom Holland. Okay. Phenomenal Spider-Man. Casted him young. He didn't fake being a teenager. It came naturally. He didn't have to worry about that other stuff. And then, with the clumsiness and the awkwardness, he adapted. And he's not even from New York. This man is a foreigner from another land. He's so powerful, they made the second Spider-Man movie coming from England. That's the amount of credibility. Did Toby have that ability? No. They didn't do Toby movies wherever Toby's from, or Andrew Garfield. All Andrew Garfield has that he can claim is that his movie had the best Stan Lee cameo. That's all. Okay, I'm rewatching Wakanda Forever. He'll be back. No. And I have it on Disney Plus. I haven't revisited that movie. I probably should do a complete return to Phase 4. I know when the new Avengers movie comes out in 2088, when it finally comes out, I'll actually watch back everything in order to remind myself, even though I don't need the reminding. Brywood, welcome to the stream. It's SSJ. Oh, look, he wrote what's going on. He says, helping my girl. Excuse me. Helping my girlfriend. I'll be back. You're just begging for hate, Chill. No, I'm not. I'm not begging for hate. I say things that are controversial. Many people believe that the Attack on Titan show was a 10 of a 10 this week. I go, no, Attack on Titan was pretty good. Let me give it an 8. They could have done more with the rumbling. The main character, Eren, we could have gotten more from him. This next point discussion that I want to bring up about Shazam is that Nerdman told us all it's a good Batson, it's a good Shazam, but they're not good for each other. Nah. The Shazam is a kid Shazam. But the good Billy Batson, I just don't see it. From that first movie, I think that Billy Batson was acting way too old for himself. He was not acting like a kid. He was casted way too old. Of course, when you cast the Billy Batson, and it's not like cartoons where they stay that age. The actor will age and will age and will age. And of course, acting in a movie is difficult, so that you would want someone who's as old as you possibly can get to do the movie. But they got a guy in Billy Batson. I don't remember the name of the actor, but he didn't even look like he was young. He looked exactly the age he was. A little 14-year-old kid. If you needed a 14-year-old, hey, let's cast someone who's 14, but he looks 10. They didn't do that. Billy Batson was my issue. The Shazam, he acted just like a Shazam should. Oh, I have lightning powers on my fingers. Hey, and I think he said something about butt. I think he said in the trailer for this new movie, he mentions Khaleesi. That's very childish. I don't know why you would be watching that show, but whatever. It is what it is. Henry says, now, I have missed this season so far. Attack on Titan? You've missed this season? We're only one episode in. It was a long episode, but we're only one in. You got no problems. Catching back up. What's this Saturday stream going to be about, Chill? The Mandalorian episode 2. Just came out yesterday. And to give you my brief thoughts on it, I loved how there was no travel time. They just said, we're going to this planet. Okay, we're on the moon. And now we're back to that planet. And there's no traveling. I love the lore that they did. Mandalore the planet. The show is called Mandalorian, right? So when they revisited it, everything felt so meaningful. Seeing Grogu and hearing Grogu, not the word, but grunting and it's like, it's cooking. Something's happening there. And I even heard Dave Filoni talking about that in an interview. So that's Mandalorian is going to be the topic coming up on the Showmonger live stream on Saturday. Burning Questions is going to take a break to keep Burning Questions special. But you'll still get K-Dot. He'll still get the invite on weeks he can make it. And then other people that you're familiar with, like Mike, they always get the invitation to open door if they want to pop in. I do question how comic book movies can even properly hire kids for these long sagas. Like, they will age so much. That's valid, yeah. And it's probably a good reason why they're going to do with James Gunn and Peter Safran, they'll mix in animation, gaming, along with their movies. So the first time we see Shazam in DCU, it could be in a game. It could be in a cartoon. Can you imagine if we see him in a cartoon on HBO Max? That would be awesome. Who voices him? Whoever voices him doesn't matter. When it's actually time for the movie, they'll have already this character that we remember who's had ongoings during the canon of DCU, and it's the first time we see the actor, but we were definitely getting Shazam stories. That takes advantage of the nature that they've got now, where it crosses different platforms. Gunn can do this. He has more love for continuity, it would appear, and love for accuracy than Marvel does. I can say that easily because he hasn't effed up yet. He hasn't actually botched anything. The only complaint I would have for him is let's get a black character who's not Jon Stewart, who shares with Hal. Let's get a black character who, when you look at that logo, and when you purchase something that has the Green Lantern logo, it actually stands for a black guy and not like a whole group of people it could possibly be. Some people might be like, oh, that's the Guy Gardner shirt. Yeah, right? Because it's the same shirt. Or merchandise of any variety, backpacks or all that, hats. Okay, Yellow says, you're right, Chill Billy should have been way younger. I do question, I got that. It's technically 3 Attack on Titan episodes in one day. And then Henry says, oh yeah, those are all, what's up, kid?
Was goody. Hold on, make sure I'm not showing you. All right, cool. So, did Mike and Nerdman fight so much that they both left?
No, Nerdman had a bus to catch, and Mike had to open his shop.
Got it. Well, and then it was just 2. I mean, I don't know how long you can stay. I mean, we pretty much got the bulk of the stream done, so I guess we'll just fuck around for like the next 20 minutes or so.
Nah, we don't even gotta do that. I can leave. I got things to do.
I mean, I can chill for another 10 minutes real quick with the guys. We'll just fuck around. What Q&A, guys? Q&A, yeah. Q&A for everyone. Ask whatever questions you want. I'm not gonna answer everything, but I'll answer some questions. Don't ask me if hopefully nobody asked me about my sexuality. I totally don't want to answer that. I like that a secret.
I don't know. How were you celebrating yesterday's International Women's Day?
You know what? That's a good question.
Oh, that's not sexuality. That's identity. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm so.
That's a good question. Regardless, I didn't even know it was yesterday. I
remember it.
I saw it was yesterday through Twitter, but that came and went. I didn't see DC post nothing about their women's thing. Did you see the Marvel one where they did not have Shuri on it?
Yeah, I saw that.
I noticed that.
Uh-huh. Yo, William just wrote a long comment. I'm gonna show it. Okay, here's the thing with Women's Day. The first time I ever heard there was a holiday was during Deadpool. It was during that montage, and they were saying Happy Victoria Day, Happy everything else Day, and then it got to like International Women's Day, and it was when he was being dominated by his woman at that. It was a joke, right? Oh, yeah. There's a holiday called Women's Day, and then Captain Marvel released on March 8th, which was Women's Day, and because of that, in 2019, now I remember every March 8th is a International Women's Day. I went to the shop.
Oh yeah, Captain Marvel did come out on Women's Day. I forgot that.
When I went to the shop on March 8th, just so like yesterday, I was at a supermarket and they had a whole bunch of flowers up front, like it was Valentine's Day. I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell? What's going on? And I asked, and someone told me it was Women's Day. Oh, Women's Day, okay. But yeah, Twitter is the one that tells me about these things to remind me. I don't let anything on the calendar dictate how I should feel. I'm not gonna be happy because it's Father's Day or whatever the freaking holiday is. Who cares?
Well, Women's Day yesterday was, honestly just bland. It came and went. Like I said, I really didn't care for it. It's not to say I don't care about women. It was like it was an afterthought, and it was honestly like Black History Month this year. It was an afterthought because I'm kind of tired of Black History Month. Not I'm tired of Black History. I'm tired of like people only like getting happy for 1 month and then the rest of the month it's like,
Okay, I got a little bit of a nuanced take on that. Oh, Henry said in Canada we have Family Day. Henry, I was gonna say Family Day too, but I was like, no one's gonna understand that. But yeah, we got Family Day.
Yeah.
It's this weird thing.
Holiday is a day off. If you get a day off, that's a holiday.
The 3rd February Monday, the 3rd Monday in February is called Family Day, and it's only exists in Ontario, in this province, because the premier, who the governor. Am I back?
Yeah, you phased out a little bit. I couldn't hear that second part you said.
Who cares? No Family Day. Let's get back to Captain Marvel and holidays and stuff. Not Captain Marvel. Oh my God, you mentioned something huge. Black History. That's what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking first, Black History Month should be like 2 months. Just say February and March are Black History, and then no one can say that it's this short thing. Oh, why is it the shortest month? And no one can laugh. But then I got to thinking, no, Black history should never be relegated to a time period. We should include it in the curriculums of all of our public schools. The same way there's time to teach about what happened in the 40s down in Germany, as relevant and important as that information is, which it is, there's also room to decide what happened in 1619 is also pretty important. And then getting through the timeline to all the way today can actually expand people's minds and actually reveal why things like inclusion and policies are put in place, which may appear like it favors dark-skinned folk a little bit more than white. And why is that unfair? Well, here's why. Redlining, the whole thing that you guys all know.
Yeah. Like that, and Yellow Spider brings up a good point too. And I think it doesn't really, but it just says a lot. They give us the shortest month. Now, regardless with this month, when I was a kid, I used to really like this month, like especially during school. Like we do all the, we use in elementary, we used to do like presentations and stuff, and they made it
the Rosa Parks, the bus presentation, like where kids would play characters, yeah.
And mind you, I'm an adult now. I don't really do that anymore. I can do whatever I want during that month, but it's like, I'm kind of out of it because I'm like, I talk about blacks. I just don't talk about black stuff for only a month. Like I can talk about it any month, any day. I can talk about black stuff. This 1 month, I noticed just as a community, black people like really get amped up during this month, and then they just like kind of disappear. We're already talking about the stuff we talk about every single day. They just amp it up slightly for Black History Month, and then people don't go really that hard anymore. Like when Black Panther was released during Black History Month, the first one, that was the event. Like that's how you amp up Black History Month. Something like that. Or I don't know, a Static Shock or some event, some special events that your town does or something like where it can get Black people universally involved. Black Panther got Black people universally involved in that.
But don't you think it's cool?
I was able to participate. You was able to participate. Everyone in the chat, even if you wasn't Black, you was able to participate in it. Not saying Black history needs to have more people participate, but it got all of us who usually don't engage to engage together. It brought about some healthy conversation. It was a peaceful couple of months.
Okay, this year what do? They changed their Twitter avatars for one. Hey, inclusion.
Pretty much.
I got an issue. Fredless Douglass's birthday was in February, so that's why they put it during that month. It was also called Black History Week, and when they expanded it to a month, well, the week happened to be in February. So if that week wasn't like a long 31-day month, then maybe that's which one would have been Black History Month. It's coincidental how we got there. It's not maybe evil intent how we got there. That doesn't change that February is the shortest month, and it's kind of embarrassing that it's happening there. Right? We can agree that it's still pretty weird that it's the shortest day of the month, and we're talking about mistreating, and when it's Black History, I think, dog, when I hear Black History, I don't think about the great things and how like who invented the light bulb and all these fancy things. I think about
because and that's thing we kind of that's thing with Black History Month, we just focus on like the civil rights era, and we don't really talk about like
first astronaut, female.
Like we talk about Frederick Douglass, but it was like he only gets brought up when it talks about the like the liberation stuff, slavery and all that. Like we don't really talk about. I mean, we don't cover like Mansa Musa.
I don't know enough about Mansa Musa.
I
don't know about
he was the richest person in history. Mansa Musa. He had a whole bunch of gold that he really couldn't do shit with. He just had gold. And then he lost that money pretty quick. But he was the richest man. He was the richest Black man in history.
I say pull Egyptian history. Like, let's learn about.
We barely talk about like Egypt. We don't really we don't talk about really the animals and stuff in Africa, like the wildlife. Like we don't really talk about. We just talk about more of the pain and the suffering, right? Not really much of the positives.
And that's not cool.
We just focus on civil rights.
An annual reminder about how tough things were, rather than like an annual celebration. Even Juneteenth, as cool as that is, yes, it kind of commemorates something nice. I mean, you still got to think about slavery. It's so, it's negative. I don't like it, and I don't have solutions. I just have complaints right now. Yeah,
but I just wish people would keep the same energy they keep for Black History Month, especially if you're Black, and I'm just out for like the super pro Black people. Like I'm pro Black, but I'm not like super duper pro Black. Like well, Dr. Umar, he's kind of toxic.
What? Yeah, did you see him in Gideon? Did you see that video?
Yeah, I know. He tried to deflect so hard, like he knew what he was talking about, but he was deflecting so hard. I like watching some of Gideon videos, but that was funny. That was genuinely funny. Had me cracking up. I was dying.
Now, I'm a big Dr. Umar fan, even though I disagree with a little bit of the marriage thing. I can see how Black women are being devalued in media. They're teaching that that's not a beauty standard. I get that, the negativity of that, and why it would be virtuous to, mates choose Black, bet on Black, like Issa Rae was saying, betting on Black. I can see the positive there. But, I mean, if you're in the same situation at the same time, at the same place, with a woman who's of a different variety, skin tone, and you happen to be in love with each other because of proximity, I'm not blaming anybody for that, because like I can find love with all variety of looks.
Same. Chill, but and this is one thing I did agree with Dr. Umar on, and I think Dr. Umar was preaching when he said this statement here, because he wasn't exactly lying. It was pretty blunt, but he wasn't lying here. Oh, what?
I can already tell I'm gonna laugh.
Let me restart it.
Of the Wakandans was shown to be possessed by the underwater Mexicans. Vibranium was supposed to be native to the Wakandans.
That's true. I've been watching the whole video where he goes Mexicans, underwater Mexicans. So it's not the first time he says it.
That's a story, but he totally killed me when he said that underwater Mexican shit. I'm like, bro. I'm sorry. I died when he said that. He said the underwater Mexicans. The underwater Mexicans have stolen vibranium, and they're using this vibranium to attack the world and make it seem as though the Wakandans have done it. They're trying to falsely accuse the Wakandan brothers of committing a crime, and also in the process, they kill our Black queen, Ramonda, and at the end of the movie, Shuri makes an alliance with this man, this underwater Mexican that has murdered our people.
You were good with that, Ryan?
Oh.
When you put it that way, though, He's got a lot of points.
Yeah, when I just broke it out, I was joking, but when I just said that, I was like, damn, Ryan, Dr. Umar might be right. I was just joking. I was just joking saying that, guys.
Yeah, you got to be more cautious. Like I heard Chadwick Boseman was a guy who was very sensitive to these things, and he would call things out. And unfortunately, he wasn't here for the second movie, of course.
Yeah. Well, you guys, we got 3 more minutes. We're gonna get ready to end it in a bit because I got to get some rest. Had to just help my lady out with something. We got it taken care of. Sorry, I had to dip out the stream. But y'all got a bulk of me today. Y'all saw me and Nerdman talking about how Shazam 2 is going to destroy the MCU, blah, 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 you know, all that stuff. And I will show some love to Canadians today because the Canadians showed out for Shazam. Let me show you guys real quick.
You're showing love to Canadians? Let me show some love right now to Africa, okay? You ready? Because we're talking about Black history, all that stuff. There is a certain fruit which you have been ridiculed, or it has been ridiculed, not you specifically, for enjoying.
Coming in, Nerdman.
It is red in color. It is native to the earth.
It's a weekly.
That is grown in a warm part of the world called Africa. And this beautiful, juicy, succulent, native of the motherland fruit should never be, ever be used against you. Love it. It is natural. There is nothing to be embarrassed of. Don't do it, chill. No. W, you don't get it. This thing right here is a product of nature. It grows in the soil, and there's only one place.
It is native to Africa. Watermelon is native to Africa. That's our fruit.
So don't you ever feel ashamed. Don't ever look at. I'm being serious when I say this though. Don't let the oppressor try to teach you what to hate and what to be making fun of yourself. I do mean that when I say that. So
look at this guy. Just to fact check it. Let's see what Google has to say. Google's never wrong, guys. Watermelons are from Africa. They're different because we know when most fruit that gets processed nowadays, they put shit in it to make it grow faster or grow bigger. Because strawberries, you know, they kind of look different from the ones we get. So just let everybody know, fruit, depending on whatever country you're in, they put some stuff in it to help it grow faster in the soil and stuff. So yeah, doesn't mean it's bad to eat, but they put some stuff in our fruit to make it grow in a certain way. Oh, but let me show love to the Canadians that showed love to Shazam too. I think Chill will be happy that his Canadians have betrayed.
Yeah, I heard you guys saying that was released here yesterday.
So yeah, our Toronto Shazam League brought the thunder. Shazam Fury of the Gods only in theaters March 17th. Get tickets now. And Parts of Shazam 1 was filmed in Toronto.
I know exactly what theater that is too.
That's a packed theater.
Yeah, that's the Scotiabank's IMAX.
Hey.
Wow.
My palms are sweaty. He's weak. Vomit on my sweater. Mom's spaghetti.
I think I know this guy. Not in real life, but from somewhere. The media personality.
Last dude that just talked, this guy?
Yeah, him.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was a star on TikTok. Some of these people that go to these premieres now could be TikTokers. She might have a TikTok. She might have a TikTok. Because she was in the other part of this trailer too. You know, I seen her up. Hold on. Lucy Liu looks great. Yeah, no, I'm tripping. I thought I saw her. Yeah. But Shazam is on its way. Hope you guys enjoy it. we're going to get ready to head out because I need to get some sleep, guys. I got off work and stuff. I need to get some sleep, get some rest. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Chill, for coming on. He'll be back with his new mic soon, or earphones, or whatever he needs to get himself back in working order. We going live this Saturday? We going live this Saturday?
Oh yeah, it'll be a Mandalorian live stream about the second episode. You coming?
Yeah, I'll be on.
Did you watch Creed 3 or Creed 1 and 2 yet?
Not yet, but I'm gonna get to them. I haven't seen Creed 3 yet either, but I seen a fight scene in Creed 3 that made me want to ooh, I want to watch this.
So I might see you. Nerdman and me we agreed we're gonna do a Woman King talk too, so you probably can be there for that also.
You want to know what? Not by default, I have to do this. I hate to have to say it. Woman King's on Netflix now, so now I can technically watch it. But this is the thing. I can watch it. I can also not watch it. And I'm saying I won't. It's on Netflix, so it's easy for me to get to now. But
you know what? Creed comes first. Creed, if that's on Netflix, go watch the first two. Or HBO Max. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and knock these movies out the way so I can just go watch Creed 3 probably this weekend or Friday. So I do want to go back to theaters anyway this week, so that'll be something good. All right, you guys. I want to thank you all for watching. Goes for that peace, love, positivity, all that jazz. Don't do drugs, and like I always say in life, deuces.